is setting up across the state. We want to start off with this severe thunderstorm warning, which is in effect until 2 p.m. This includes Clark, Lucas, Marion, and Warren County. The greatest likelihood is some large hail as well as damaging winds, but we are starting to see some signals with this that are indicating some rotation as well. I do want to stress this storm system right now is south of the Des Moines metro area, and we'll explain the dynamics with this system, but this is really out ahead of what we do think will be intensifying in the next hour. And the strongest part of the storm is located near Highway 34, getting closer to Lucas and also moving off to the east-northeast at a speed of around 50 miles per hour. These storms are tracking at the speed of cars on the highway, and they will continue to abruptly intensify and then move off and out of the area, and unfortunately could be rather destructive as well. Here's a track of the strong thunderstorm that we're monitoring right now, and you can see how it is kind of peaking out there right now just north of Highway 34 at this point. The storm is headed towards Lacoma by around 1:54, also in the target of the strong to severe thunderstorm Melcher Dallas at 2:03, and by 2:07 it will continue to move into the next county as well. Now these storms are located south of I-80 and also east of I-35, again tracking off to the east-northeast. We're breaking in right now because there is a tornado watch in effect as we go throughout the afternoon. Right now we just have one severe thunderstorm warning in effect, but this is a tornado watch which includes most of Iowa this afternoon. That will stay in effect until 8 p.m. Now, I do want you to see that we are starting to see some storms pop up just to the south of Des Moines, but we are anticipating the temperatures across the state are definitely very interesting right now. We're in the mid to upper 70s here right along I-35, but notice Spencer at 41 degrees. 70s around the Pella area as well, as those winds continue to strengthen out of the south here at the surface. That's extremely concerning to us at this point, as we have a very strong surface wind, as we also do have winds in the upper levels continuing to strengthen as well. We're monitoring the dew point, and this is something we look at in each weather situation, but it gives us some indication of where the moisture is located and where there is a dry line, and we tend to see our strongest severe thunderstorms develop along this line. And you can distinctly see a difference here with Ottumwa right around 61 degrees and 30s along the western border of the state. There is little to no threat for strong to severe thunderstorms around Sioux City or Council Bluffs, but any of these areas along I-35 or past the interstate here along I-80 are definitely under the threat for some stronger thunderstorms to enhance here over the next couple of hours, as we'll continue to watch this situation continue to strengthen. Right now, these are the thunderstorms we're seeing, and again, this one is close to Sheraton at this point. I think it will miss the Sheraton community. And where we see the deeper, darker colors, the magenta here is where we're seeing all the ingredients for some stronger storms. Again, this is not producing rotation, but strong winds can also lead to some damage as well as large hail, as many of you know. And what we're seeing with these storm dynamics is the potential for large hail, damaging winds, and unfortunately, once these start to kick up within the next hour, it could turn dangerous rather fast. So we want you to be not scared, but definitely smart in this situation. We're going to go back and remind you what we want you to do if you do hear that a tornado warning is in effect. And again, you're not always going to hear the sirens, so we want you to keep it here to WHO 13. We'll alert you as soon as we get the notice of a tornado warning in effect, but you can also live stream this throughout the afternoon. We want you to think about where you would go. The basement, obviously the best place, the lowest level of your home, an interior room. Put as many walls between you and the outside. And of course, think about putting something sturdy on you. I've heard from numerous kids who have said, hey, we don't have a basement at our house. The bathroom is the next best place. A closet is also a great place. But if you are in a trailer home within the next couple of hours, we want you to come up with a backup plan. Maybe say, hey, it's time to go visit Aunt Marge here this afternoon, because unfortunately it's hitting during the worst time possible when many of these schools are dismissing as well. And we are anticipating things to continue to get stronger here within the next hour, right around 2:30, 3 p.m. And that's when we really don't want folks on the roads, as we are seeing the potential for more of these thunderstorms to continue to fire up. At this point, we just have one severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Let's go through the counties in this right now and the location of this. Again, Woodburn, the strongest part of the storm is just north of the Woodburn area. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 2 p.m. It includes Clark, Lucas, Marion, and Warren counties. And if we take the radar off here, we can show you these cones that go into effect to just show you the communities that this will continue to impact. And right now, the strongest part of the storm is that just intensified right along Highway 65. That to me looks like is targeting Melcher, Dallas here within the next half hour or so. But you can see a very strong storm complex at this point that looks like to me a hail producer. Brett McIntyre is also monitoring the radar situation. Brett, what are you seeing?
Yeah, I was just going to jump in. The severe thunderstorm warning here, actually in the last minute or two, has been upgraded just a bit. It was at quarter-size hail, which would be 1 inch. The latest update now up to 1¼ inches. So we'd be talking about the potential here maybe for some ping pong ball size hail. And again, that would be that northeastern part of Lucas County right now, zooming in where you're talking about on Highway 65, the bright pink there. Definitely starting to get maybe a little bit more kind of an arc shape to that. And certainly it does look like more rotation here on the radar just north of Lucas. So north of Highway 34, west of Highway 65, this may be a developing tornado here. There's at least rotation up above here starting to develop what we call mesocyclone up off the ground. And you can tell just even from looking from the reflectivity. Sometimes the hook isn't necessarily the easiest way to find it. We can have those without a tornado, but definitely looks like in the reflectivity here between where the hail and the rain is going that we're starting to get some circular motion here, and the winds definitely beginning to rotate. This is maybe even better than what we saw earlier, so it would not shock me if there was a tornado warning soon. I would say north of Lucas, northern Lucas County, Jeriann, this would be a good time to get to that place of shelter and just take it safe as fast as these are moving.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to show you these colors here, unfortunately, throughout the afternoon as we do continue to have the dynamics here for tornadoes. I want to go in closer, take this off here, just so I can give folks a greater idea of exactly where this is located right now. And again, really in between Woodburn and Lucas, but near Highway 65 at this point. I'm going to step out of the way here so we can get in just a little bit closer if we can. But we do want your attention to go just to the west right now of Highway 65. And it's near 550th Street. If that sounds familiar to you, you're familiar with this open area, we definitely want you to call folks and let them know that this storm is strengthening.
They are very rapidly moving to the northeast at 50 miles per hour, so I'll get a fresh storm track kind of right on where this hook is. Now, the hail is going to come along with it, and maybe even faster in some cases, but at 50 miles per hour to the northeast, these are the places we're talking about. We're in northern Lucas County here at the moment. It's going to clip Warren County, that southeastern sliver of Warren County, and then on into our Madison County viewer area.
Let's go back to the big picture in case folks are just joining us right now. It is 1:47 in the afternoon. A tornado watch is in effect until 8 p.m. for most of the state. And right now we're watching these strong to severe thunderstorms slide in from the south out of Missouri. They're moving rapidly off to the east, northeast. Nothing's happening in downtown Des Moines at this point, but we do think things are going to change within the hour because not only are these storms moving in, we are anticipating more to start to pop up just to the west of the Des Moines metro area here by 2:30, 3 o'clock. But these thunderstorms are continuing to strengthen in between Indianola and Sheraton, headed right for the Knoxville community, and also another strong to severe thunderstorm just to the south of Highway 34. Let's go to our Osceola cam if we can, just to check out the weather ingredients right around Osceola. You can see a lot of dark clouds at this point. There was definitely a change throughout the afternoon where we saw some sunshine, and now the clouds are starting to build in. You can feel the high heat and humidity and the strong winds. I can also see there in the distance those rain clouds getting closer to Lakeside Hotel and Casino in Osceola. And just a reminder that we have no severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for the metro area at this point, but it is heating up all across the state as the temperatures continue to climb, getting close to 80 degrees in parts of the state. Remember how we started the month of March kind of calm? We're ending the month of March definitely on a much different note here, but you can see the rain there in the distance picking up as well. Thankfully, we're not seeing any lowering of the clouds, but this is a day we don't want you to seem like you're a weather expert and go to the windows. You can put the volume up on your television right now and listen to us closely. Also, just remind folks that know that their kids will be getting home from school or have some activities this afternoon. I'd cancel those here for the next couple of hours. We do think once 6 p.m. gets here, these storms will be passing. But again, that tornado watch is still in effect until 8 p.m. We have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect that includes areas near Sheraton, but right now just a severe thunderstorm. One severe thunderstorm warning and a tornado watch is in effect. And I can tell you my time here, a particular dangerous situation is pretty rare. And when I got up this morning and noticed all the ingredients have went up, that's why we have a level of concern, probably than a different weather day for you, because we do have a lot of dynamics here in place that could equal some damage here, and we want you to stay safe and smart. Look at these temperatures across the state. Perry right now at 78 degrees, Ames at 78 degrees, much colder air to the north and west, and it looks like this cold front will even produce snow by the end of the day. But in the next couple of hours, in between 2 and really 5 p.m., we are concerned about these thunderstorms really starting to intensify, especially these areas that are experiencing sunshine right now. This is just a red alert. This is really round one moving off to the east, northeast. These are headed right for the Iowa City, Davenport area throughout the afternoon. But we do see a line capable of producing more thunderstorms here just to the west of Des Moines that should be developing within the next hour and unfortunately strengthening during the peaking of the day. Whenever we see ingredients like this happening during the warmest part of the day, that always raises a red flag. Again, we're on right now because of the severe weather situation. We're glad you're keeping it here to WHO 13. It's 1:50 in the afternoon. We have one severe thunderstorm warning, which has not been upgraded right now. But again, it does look like it is producing a little bit of a hook, and that could be just with the strengthening winds as well. This looks a little bit different than it looked about 10 minutes ago. Wouldn't you agree, Brett? Overall, it looks like it's weakening just a little bit.
Yeah, it seems a little bit stretched out, although just while we were talking about that, here's the next scan, and we do have where that green is, that's headed back toward the radar. That's going back toward Des Moines, and where it turns to light blue, that's where we're talking about when we have that switch over from green to blue, that's where I put it at about 60 miles per hour. So that's strong going into the storm. The red is blowing away from Des Moines, so if you think about that, if you put a pencil between your fingers and you push one way and one the other way, that's how we know that it's spinning right there. So there is definitely some spin up above the ground here with this tornado or with this severe thunderstorm. No tornado warning yet, but again, as we watch that area of rotation, if it gets tighter and tighter, of course, we've got storm spotters, storm chasers, a whole bunch of people out there. We've got our volunteer firefighters, sheriff's departments are out there watching these storms. So constant communication there. To this point, no tornado warning, but again, anywhere in the southern portions of Marion County, as well as Warren County, northern Lucas, anywhere where those three counties come together, you know where those county lines are, you should be in your place of shelter.
Okay, let's go back and just show people, I think the satellite and the radar really speaks volumes here on what's going on in this situation. Again, the strongest storms are all south of the Des Moines metro area. I know a lot of schools in many of these communities let the kids out early here today, just with the fear of getting home and kids being home by themselves. We want you to know at this point there are no tornado warnings in effect across the state, but these storms will continue to strengthen as they move off to the east, northeast. The focus here within the next hour is it's going to meet with a more unstable atmosphere here to the east, and I do think these storms will continue to strengthen as they move off to the east. So we'll continue to be watching these closely. We're also concerned about these folks just to the west that are experiencing high dew points, high temperatures, high surface winds, as well as we do have prime ingredients as that system continues to move off to the east that it will trigger even more thunderstorms here within the next hour. It looks to me like the winds are starting to shift just a little bit, and we're going to be watching that closely. Where the winds are out of the south here, there's a definite concern. Where the winds are more out of the southwest, we're not quite as concerned here, but that's starting to show a different in directions with the winds. Brett, you're seeing the same thing as I am?
Right, we have the winds up above. You can tell the direction that the storms are moving, because that's all the storms up above. It's pushing out of the southwest to the northeast. And if all the winds are going the same way, that lessens the tornado risk. That's why when we talked about that level 5 out of 5, we're over here in eastern Iowa. We're out of the south and even southeast, because then you get that cross in different levels that starts to make that spin go. So the more these storms get rooted east of Interstate 35, that tornado threat's going to go up, and just like you showed earlier with our dew points, once we get behind that humidity, then that's pretty much the end of the severe thunderstorm threat. So the metro here's probably got maybe another hour. We're right on the dry line. That's where we can see these storms really begin to fire up and initialize, and once that pushes to the east and you get on that drier side, that's when that risk drops off.
Okay, we do have some new information coming from Warren County Emergency Management, and this was around 1:53, but this was saying that this was a few minutes ago that we have ping pong size hail near Lucas. And if we could splice that storm, we'll show you just how we can tell that these storms are continuing to strengthen here. First, you can see by the colors here, they look angry and intense. And then when we take the storm and look at the other layers, we can see just how high these storms are developing. And that can give us some indication of just how big this hail is going to be. And at this point, we're starting to see the strongest core of the storm. Now, this would, I believe, be just to the west of Melcher, Dallas here, but just to the north of the Lucas community. So that would actually match up here with what they were saying here. It was a few minutes ago, but it gives you some idea of the strength of this storm. And again, this is the storm in the severe thunderstorm warning right now, and that's where we're seeing the reports of the very large hail.
Yeah, and I would say our other clue, Jeriann, that we were highlighting earlier. Remember when we were talking about that bright pink, the bright purple, where all that hail is? It's gone now. So it was up in the air, the radar saw it, and when it disappears, again, sometimes we think that's good that the storm is weakening. That can also be some of the most dangerous times in the storm, because that means that the hail is now falling out. It's going underneath the radar. So it certainly matches up with the trend that we've seen here on radar, that we grew some big hail up there. It's now fallen out of the storm. Not only do you get hail damage, but that also increases our risk of straight line winds that get kind of pushed out of that storm when we get that collapse like that.
Yeah, and right now the strongest part of the storm is really just to the south of the Milo community. And again, let's put a track on that so we can show folks as that moves off to the east northeast at a speed of around 50 miles per hour. Some other communities that will be impacted by this large hail as well as these strengthening winds. And again, it looks like 213 as it tracks off to the east northeast around the Pleasantville area. On the fringes of that would be 216 around Knoxville. And just to remind you right now, it is 1:56 in the afternoon. We're going to take a quick break here at 2 p.m. We're going to regather some new information, but we are going to be with you throughout the rest of the afternoon as we are continuing to see these storms slide in, not only from the south, but we are anticipating more to redevelop off to the west. I want to go back real quick and just remind you that we are under a tornado watch, and that will stay. Ooh, this storm is starting to definitely look stronger as well. This would indicate hail to me, and this is near Highway 169 at this point. Is this in an open rural area to you, Brett, in between East Peru and the Maxburg community, just south of Winterset?
Yep, we're just getting some new warnings here on these storms that are coming out. Just south of Winterset here on Highway 169 does look like we're going to have the potential for some hail there. This thunderstorm that has been intensifying near Murray, golf ball size hail reported here in the last 5 minutes from the emergency manager in Lucas County. So again, we spoke of this earlier for our friends. When you go out and get storm spotter training, and we have storm chasers out here, sometimes you get fixated on one storm. You're looking for that tornado. You're not looking at maybe what's happening right behind you. And again, we showed you the dew point. I'll flip back to that. We talked about the dry line. That's where these storms can form. And you see it goes from Des Moines back into Madison County, where Winterset is. We can get some nasty storms right on the dry line. It's not until that's completely passed and you're behind it that you're really in the clear. So that dry line does look like it is firing up and firing up quickly as it moves to the east and gets closer to that spin. These could all become tornadic. So here is the newest warning, Jeriann. This is Clark, Madison, Union, and Warren. Golf ball.
This one just came in, and they are reporting that this storm is capable of considerable damage, mainly with the large hail and the very strong winds at this point. So we want folks around Clark, Madison, Union County to all seek shelter. And right now the strongest part of this storm is right around the Murray community, and it is continuing to move off to the east northeast. But this looks like, to me, capable of some very significant hail, but also the dynamics here are showing some very strong wind gusts. Now that would be just to the east of the Loramore community, and this would be headed for, let's track this just to be safe. Oh, you're going to do the splice here just to show you just how high up this storm is tracking. If some of you are seeing these clouds start stacking on top of each other, that's what we're looking at right now, because that gives us some indication of just high up that storm is developing, and that also means it is strengthening, and we can distinctly see some hail core here.
And I just wanted to circle that area because you see the hail that's up above there in the radar scan, and then you have the empty closer to the ground where it looks like there's nothing. That's an indication of a very healthy, strong thunderstorm that's holding that hail up in the air and not falling through the lower level scans of that. So definitely it does look like that storm is still in its strengthening mode. We'll go ahead and get that track, Jeriann, for you right here.
Yeah, because to me, this is just south of the Des Moines metro area. Again, this storm that we're talking about right now is headed off to the east, northeast, and headed right for the New Virginia community, and that would be by 2:13. In the next 13 minutes, we're anticipating some hail and damaging winds around the New Virginia community as well. This storm is also looking fairly strong just to the south of Winterset near Highway 169. Again, it looks like capable of producing hail once again. Now, this is not in a severe thunderstorm warning.
Actually, there's a new one that'll just be coming out here. That we just got word that'll be issued here shortly. You'll see it popping up.
Okay, because what Brett and I are looking at, not only the radar, and we have Gabe Prough here as well, keeping you updated on social media. We also want to remind you we are going to stream this coverage live onto your cell phone, website, computer. Turn up the volume of your phone, as we do think over the next couple of hours things will be intensifying, as this is the warmest part of the day. Right now we're seeing the best chance of hail right along Highway 169, and you can see the Winterset community right here. Brett, are you seeing anything else?
Yeah, just looking at the large hail right now is going to be the big issue. That's what the warning will be coming out for here as they get it pushed out to us here in just a little bit. We'll check on the rotation here just a minute, but this is just south of Winterset. It's going to be moving to the northeast, so likely going to see large hail on the south side of Winterset at least. Good news is right now, in terms of tight rotation, we're not seeing that so much on that storm.
I'm liking what I'm seeing there, definitely.
But like you were saying, these, especially this new one on Madison County, when that warning comes out here, we're waiting on that as it moves toward the Des Moines metro. This is your time, Indianola, Des Moines. You get the car in the garage, make sure you've got everything battened down. You don't want, here's the new warning. You don't want to wait till it's on top of you. Kind of get those preparations done now. Right.
Let's go through that warning, and I want to remind folks that is just south of the Waukee community as well, but now Winterset included in it. This severe thunderstorm warning is new. It's now in effect until 2:30. Again, it is 2:02. This includes Dallas, Madison, Polk, and Warren County. And this storm has had a history of producing some very large hail, and we are anticipating, as it continues to move off to the east northeast, it is moving into a very unsettled situation. So unfortunately, the situation may get worse before it gets better. We do think by around 6 o'clock, we are anticipating these very fast storms to be out of central Iowa. But over the next couple of hours, we want you to stay put in your home, and please stay off the roads as well. well. Come up with a plan or safe spot to be, as the weather conditions will be changing. Some of you may be seeing the dark clouds, and we have no tornado warnings in effect right now, but 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, and this one continues to be rather strong as well. This storm includes Indianola, kind of parts of Osceola here, and that's for Clark, Madison, Union, and Warren County, and that will be in effect until 2:45. Did you just put up that other severe thunderstorm warning too?
Just put them both up there together. Yep.
Yeah, and that includes parts of Dallas, Madison, Polk, and Warren County, and that will be in effect until 2:30. But the biggest threat we're seeing right now with these strong to severe thunderstorms is some very large hail. We did see a report earlier of golf ball size, but even ping pong size hail. We want to go back and show you the current temperatures and some dynamics with this storm. And I also want to show you the satellite radar picture from across the Midwest here so you can kind of understand what's going on. Look at this. Perry right now 80 degrees. Des Moines metro area at 74, much colder to the north and west. So the stage is set. It is warm. It is extremely sticky as the dew points continue to be very high too. Here's a big picture of the satellite and the radar composite, and you can see those thunderstorms really starting to blossom just off to the south and moving off to the east northeast. This is the area of concern right now that's all seeing sunshine because you still have humidity. The wind shift is starting to occur, and we definitely do have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Before we get to that, we do want to show you just what it looks like out to the west from our Athene camera if we can. Oh, wow, you can really see everything changing there. Now, I'm just seeing heavy rainfall at this point, but we're going to continue to look at these sky cams to monitor the situation, but that's just heavy rainfall at this point. All right, this is a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This will remain in effect until 2:45 this afternoon. This includes Jasper, Marion, Warren County. All right, let's take that off and just look at some of the different storm cells at this point. And right now it looks like the strongest cell is just to the south and west of Knoxville, near Melcher, Dallas, also Pleasantville community. And to me, this looks a little bit stronger than when we just last looked at it. And again, your attention goes to that hot pink kind of white color. And to me, that just screams hail potential. And we can really tell that by slicing the storm and looking at just how strong the storm system is. And it will continue to be moving off to the east, northeast. Some roads in the path of this storm would be right along Highway 5 there, just south of the Pleasantville community. You can see how high these storms are developing right now. And of course, if you're seeing the clouds darken, we want you to get to a safe spot. I know there is some concern if you're talking to loved ones that may be on the roads in some of these thunderstorms right now. And we just want to remind you that the best thing to do if you would see a tornado is to get out of your car, go to the ditch, lay in the ditch, as that would be the safest spot to definitely lay down and get as low as possible. Now, if you do have shelter nearby, a gas station is a great place to stop and go to the bathroom or an area of shelter in those communities. Winterset area, this is all a heavy thunderstorm, a severe thunderstorm warning in effect near Highway 169. I know folks around Winterset, it's still fresh in their memories, that tornado on March 5th. We're not seeing spin with this storm right now, but it is capable of some very large hail. Brett, are you seeing anything else?
We actually just had a report here in the last couple minutes of ping pong ball size hail just south of Winterset. So in that area that was so hard hit last March, we had ping pong ball size hail there. We had a report here just in the last minute from our emergency manager in Madison County of more hail in the Winterset area moving to the northeast now. That is going to be moving into areas of West Des Moines. Again, there's portions of West Des Moines down here in these slivers of Dallas and Polk County that are included in this warning. And in fact, it's kind of growing upscale here along I-80. So out into kind of your neck of the woods here, Jeriann, and where we've got Ed usually out on I-80, Waukee, Van Meter area, just south and southeast of that area. That storm continues to grow. And there's going to be a new warning coming out on the south side of these thunderstorms north of Lamoni back to Decatur County.
Oh, I'm glad you're taking our attention down here. We need to remind folks, Brett, what this is, this red box here right over the Iowa-Missouri border. We're also seeing mesoscale discussions come out, and that's just just showing that we are seeing a high threat for some very heavy rainfall with these storms. A lot of people hear tornado and think dangerous, but flooding is also a very big concern as we will be seeing some heavy rainfall push through. All right, looks like we have some new severe thunderstorm warnings coming into effect here. And this one is new, the yellow here, which includes Sheraton now. And that also includes parts of Clark, Decatur, Lucas, Warren, and that will be in effect until 2:45 as we are seeing some large hail and some very damaging winds. Now, the box I'm seeing over the Iowa-Missouri border, that red box, is that a tornado warning?
Yep, that's down into Missouri, so we can kind of pull that up. This would be Mercer County, Missouri. I'll get that popped back up for you. This is still a decent amount of where we would be looking for the tornado with this storm just to our south, but it is something we're going to watch as it tracks its way toward Centerville here this afternoon.
Right. All right, let's do a track on some of these. Let's start with that one that's around Winterset right now. That would be just south of Des Moines, south of I-80, and that area is under a severe thunderstorm warning right here.
If we can go ahead and switch over to Max 2 for a minute, I'll get that storm track pulled up for you there. If we can get that back in our control room switched over.
All right, so all three of these boxes right now are representing communities in a severe thunderstorm warning. And we've been seeing reports of some very large hail. Included in this severe thunderstorm warning right now as it tracks off to the east-northeast at a speed of around 50 miles per hour. These storms are moving rapidly. By 2:13 around Weldon, you can see 2:27, the Derby community, 2:31 around Lucas, and by 2:37 Sheraton. If I'm saying the town in which you live, you need to be in a safe spot right now, away from the windows, put in as many walls between you and the outside as we're continuing to see some very strong thunderstorms fire up. We also have another severe thunderstorm warning just to the north of this one, which also includes communities around Indianola and New Virginia. And right now, the strongest part of this storm is located near New Virginia, again, advancing off to the east-northeast. I'm going to step out of the way so you can read the information here. Clark, Madison, Union, Warren County, and that will be until 2:45. Right now, the time is 2:10, and let's go to that Winterset storm, which we heard reports of some very large hail in a community that's already hurting, and that will continue to advance off to the east-northeast as well. Getting closer to Waukee, getting closer to I-235 at this point. 2:30 is when this warning is in effect until, and that includes parts of Dallas, Madison, Polk, and Warren County. And now, Brett, I just saw a new severe thunderstorm warning coming up as well. So let's back it out here just a little bit. Did you see that one come in?
Yeah, I think,
there.
Yep, right out into the I-80 range here, toward Newton and Jasper County.
Yeah, and these are the areas we're definitely concerned about here as we're continuing to see the winds more southerly, which could equal definite rotation here with these storms. But again, no tornadoes reported. We're monitoring some severe thunderstorm warnings. This one is in effect until 2:45. It includes parts of Jasper, Marion, and Warren County. And where you see this deeper, darker red is where we are seeing the strongest part of the storm right now. And we're going to dissect this here to just see the rotation, the intensity of this storm, and get some idea if there is a potential for rotation at this point. Brett, are you seeing anything?
Yeah, right now at this point we don't have any dramatic rotation here. We're continuing to monitor here. The latest coming in from the Pleasantville Police Department is that they've got some winds picking up a little bit greater than pea size, probably close to dime size hail or a little bit larger. But kind of all of these storms here are continuing to intensify. And again, these to the south are going to be moving over the areas that we had our initial severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning. So,
I remember you talking about the Grand River community here around 1 o'clock. We're still seeing some very strong thunderstorms right around Van Wert as well. This community is still under that severe thunderstorm warning. And if I had to peg what this situation is, it is some more hail for that community as well as some very strong winds. We also do have a strong thunderstorm firing up just to the west of of New Virginia. And if you could go closer into the one here along Highway 34, I'm not sure if that's over a rural area, open area, countryside there, but that would be just to the east of Murray at this point. Near Highway 34, also getting closer to Interstate 35. If you know folks traveling south on I-35, they will encounter the hail and the damaging winds as well. You may want to give them a heads up to pull over. Yeah,
we're going to be watching this really all afternoon, and that goes for anybody that's going to be traveling today. You don't want to try to drive through these storms. We've got large hail potential, and of course, with the tornado threat, again, depending what direction you're going, you could end up punching through what would be heavy rain curtains, tough to see. Again, this is why the game watch for the Iowa women, the Final Four at Carver Hawkeye Arena, was canceled yesterday. And you might say, well, you know, do we really need to do that? We don't want people on the roads traveling to get there. You know, you'd have extra people kind of maybe milling around in the mall, killing time before that game at 8 o'clock. Yeah, maybe a lot of these storms hopefully could be done or out of here by then, but you just don't want people out in the way or trying to get there while these storms are going on. And again, you have to remember when we talk about our tornado myths, this was one that got a few years ago, the Atlanta tornado with the SEC basketball tournament. A gymnasium is one of the last places you want to be in a tornado. You do not want to be in a high ceilinged room. So something like the gyms at schools, that's where we don't put kids. You don't want to be out in an open kind of big box store area. You want to make sure you're into an interior room, low, smaller ceilings that have better support. So that's a good call by the University of Iowa there to keep people out of harm's way.
Yeah, I was really thankful to see this because we do feel like as these storms move off to the east, they will continue to get stronger. Right now, we have all severe thunderstorm warnings in effect, and I know there's probably a lot of parents at home or watching right now concerned about their kids coming home from school. And that's still another hour away. The school is a great place to be as they do have a sturdy interior as well as the bathrooms are the best place to be in those schools. I'm so glad you went through that information, Brett. But we do want to talk through a few of these severe thunderstorm warnings. This one is new right now, and that's in effect until 3 p.m. This includes parts of Boone, Dallas, Polk and Story County. Some communities here would be Waukee, the Ankeny area, and now downtown Des Moines. A few of you have been asking me about the I-Cubs game tonight. We haven't heard word if it's still on or not, but by the time it's game time, these storms will be done. It will just be strengthening here within the next hour, and by 6 p.m. we are anticipating them to be in eastern Iowa. So we're on air right now. We thank you for joining us here, and you can see the sky conditions right now in Waukee, and this is through our Shawl Skycam network, and it appears to be raining right now around the Waukee community. Again, we're watching for any lowering of the clouds. The clouds are definitely getting darker there. They have some characteristics here that look like mammatus clouds, which could be indicative of some hail as this storm system continues to get closer. But we're not seeing anything too concerning through our Waukee cam. Now let's go back to radar there. As you can see, mainly heavy rainfall at this point. That's what you're seeing over Waukee, the yellow, the reds, indicating mainly rainfall. But again, as we keep explaining here through this live coverage, we do think as these storms continue to advance off to the east-northeast, unfortunately, they could strengthen rather than weaken. We're also seeing a very strong storm just south of the DeSoto community, just south of Highway 6 right now at this point, near Northwest 142nd Street. These would all be capable of producing hail right around the Meredith Drive, 156. I'm very familiar with this area. North Ellis's Road. This would all be by the Hy-Vee there in Waukee. You can see Douglas Parkway, and this is where we're seeing the best potential for some hail at this point. Brett, are you seeing anything else?
Yeah, we're just looking. I'm going to take us right a little bit farther to the south here. We're looking on I-35. This would be back down to the south of Osceola. You see some large hail potential here, but also when we look at the winds, we're starting to get some pretty strong inflow there. That's the green blowing back toward Des Moines. Red is blowing back to the south away from Des Moines. So it does look like we're starting to get maybe some more spin there. Again, the southern edge of these storms are always likely to be the most dangerous because those are going to be the ones that have maybe the most open flow there. So no tornado warnings in place right now. But again, this is another area where we do have some rotation aloft. I want you in your safe space if you're in Weldon here as you get into southern Clark County, that Clark-Decatur line here. I think if you live right on the edge there in Decatur County, you want to be in shelter. The rest of it is fine, but the southeastern half of Clark County up to Woodburn, again, there's going to be some small areas in here. We know there are folks that live out there, but that's the area right now I think that's most concerning for tornado potential here at this very moment, just to the east of I-35.
Okay, we are on air right now because we are seeing a rather dangerous situation with the weather. We want to go back to some reminders here in case you are just joining us. It's around 2:17 in the afternoon on the last day of March. We thank you for keeping it here at WHO 13. But just a reminder, if you do hear a warning in effect, we want you to get to your safe spot. Make sure your phones are charged up. If you know somebody living in a trailer home, let them know your basement is available as well, as we are going to continue to see strong to severe thunderstorms move across central Iowa over the next couple of hours. If we can put on the satellite and the radar composite here, just so I can show you the big picture with these storms, because we did have a storm just to the south of the Iowa-Missouri border that was a tornado warning. And again, this is the area we're really concerned about here over the next couple of hours, as well as these storms continue to lift out of Missouri off to the east northeast. And again, we're monitoring this dry line where we tend to see thunderstorms develop along it. That's setting up right along I-35. Some of you ask me sometime, well, where are these roads? This is I-35 right now. We're starting to see some thunderstorms pop up at the West Mixmaster. And again, they're moving rapidly off to the east northeast. We think within the next hour, we are going to continue to see our greatest threat of strong to severe thunderstorms here in central Iowa, right over the Iowa-Missouri border. That red box is indicating that tornado warning. And again, if that would advance off to the east northeast and continue to be strong over the Iowa border, that would have areas near Centerville, Elbia, Corden. Those would be all areas of concern that I do want you to get to the safest spot possible, which again is the basement. And you can just turn the volume up on the TV and we'll continue to keep you updated on these storms. Brett, are you seeing anything new, or should we go back through the warnings?
Well, if we can go through the warnings again here in a minute. If we can switch back over to Max 1 really quick. We have a picture here from that's come into us on social media. We'll get the name for you here in a little bit, but meteorologist Megan Sowell got this off of her page, but I think Gabe might have the name here. This is a hail in Mount Air that was golf ball size earlier with the first round of storms that have come through, and now we're seeing some second storms that kind of in that same area here at the moment. So our severe thunderstorm warnings continue. We've got two kind of very strong areas of hail. One that we were just looking at there in Clark County, south of Highway 34, the southeastern half of Clark County. And then we'll kind of go back up, give you a new update here on the streets, Jeriann, in Polk County here on the northwest side of the Des Moines Metro.
Yeah, what I'm seeing right around Grimes at this point, and this would be near Highway 141, also northwest 70th Avenue. I wouldn't be surprised if we are seeing some hail here, and I believe that's by that 515 field house. Lots of sports activities take place there. You can also see right along Highway 141, Meredith Drive. This is usually a really busy road at this time of the day. A very strong thunderstorm, mainly thunder, lightning, but we are also seeing the potential for some hail right now, right through the Grimes community. Again, that storm will continue to be moving off to the east, northeast, as we're starting to see more storms around the western suburbs. Right here is the West Mixmaster at this point. We showed you a live look through our Waukee camera that's located on Hickman, Stivers, Mercury, Ford there, and we're continuing to see those thunderstorms right around Waukee continuing to produce heavy rainfall and some thunder and lightning. And we want to show you that Waukee cam once again because it looks a lot different than the last time we saw it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we're seeing some hail from that right now. It's definitely heavy rainfall.
It looks like a blizzard. I mean, it looks like everything, it's blowing left to right here across the camera, at least the way it seems on there. So this is a good idea why we want you in your interior room, even severe thunderstorm warnings away from the windows, because you can see this stuff is going left to right. that hail gets a little bit bigger, and you can start punching out windows, certainly if you've got trees falling or whatnot. That's a good reason that it's not just tornadoes that you need to be away from the window.
Let's go back to the radar and match this up around Waukee, because we know right where that camera is located off Hickman here, Highway 30. Oh, wow, I bet that is some hail. Brett, as radar is starting to show that on North Alice's Road at this point. That's why this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. We saw those pictures earlier from this storm of golf ball size hail. This is where the greatest threat is for some hail, and Southeast Alice's Road once again. So now that you know that Waukee is experiencing a strong to severe thunderstorm with hail, and it's advancing off to the east northeast, the Grimes area, we saw it capable of hail as well. These would be communities where you want to get your cars inside. That includes Madrid, the Ames community, Ankeny, as well, as the storm is headed right for Polk City as well as the Huxley area. It will be in Huxley by 2:40. And just to remind you, right now we're at 2:22. We're on air because most of the state is in a tornado warning. We have several severe thunderstorm warnings in effect at this point, capable of producing some hail. We do want to go back to one of our cameras so we can show you the latest conditions here across the state. And we're continuing to see the clouds definitely turn dark, the heavy rainfall, and the hail as well. This is the one we showed you earlier. I have no doubt it's hailing right now in Waukee around Stivers, Ford Lincoln.
This is right where we showed you there on the radar. We've had reports from Grimes that we have had at least pea-size hail there kind of on the northern edge of that storm. So this has kind of got two different areas of hail, one up by Grimes getting close to Saylorville Lake, and then back here, as you can see on the Stivers Ford Lincoln camera in Waukee. So a couple of rounds of hail. Can maybe go through the worst of it, lets up a little bit. There's some more on the way, so hang tight. If you're in that area, you're going to have maybe a couple of bursts to get through.
Yeah, I want to go back along the southern border of the state, right around Wayne and Appanoose County as well, as we do have a tornado warning in northern Missouri at this point. And again, the storm system is moving fast off to the east, northeast. We're starting to see some strengthening just south of the Cordon area. But if this storm continues on track, that would be close to Centerville here within the hour. So that's a community we'll be watching for. Lots of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. The Des Moines metro area is in a severe thunderstorm warning, as well as Dallas County, as we're continuing to see most of these storms at this point producing very heavy rainfall and some large hail as well. Brett, are you monitoring something else?
Yeah, we're keeping an eye on, again, this one cell that's on the southern edge of this cluster here. We've had the two come together there. The one that was moving a little bit farther to the north there in Clark County. Again, we said that the southern ones are usually the ones we want to keep an eye on because you can kind of block out that clean air, the warm, moist air going into the other one. That does look like what's happening. The northern half of that storm, or the northern storm, starting to fade away. The southern one still looks strong here. It's mainly for Clark and Lucas County at this point. I know Decatur's in there. We're past that. But it also does still have a little bit of spin on the radar. It's not a lot, but it's just something to keep an eye on and keep in mind there for that western half of Lucas County, basically from Sheraton to the northwest.
All right, let's go back to the satellite and the radar composite in case somebody's joining us right now from Carroll or Iowa City, that you can kind of see what's going on. We definitely have strong to severe thunderstorms around the Des Moines metro area. We're concerned about the Ames community as well as Ankeny, as these storms that have been producing hail continue to advance off to the east, northeast. But right now, for the most part, we're seeing these thunderstorms right along I-35 and really in the southeast corner of the state. And it definitely looks like the strongest storm I can detect right now is right over the Iowa-Missouri border. And I can see a new thunderstorm warning just came into effect.
That's the one.
There it is. All right. And they're still keeping it as a severe thunderstorm warning, correct? Yep. Until 3:15. That would include Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, and Wayne County at this point. So at this time, This strong to severe thunderstorm capable, and again, it's radar indicated, I believe, over the Missouri border, but that's where our latest tornado warning is in effect. And if that would move off to the east, northeast, the Centerville community could be impacted by that within the hour.
Yeah, and like you said, right now it's just a severe thunderstorm warning. With the latest information here that we've got, both from our partners with the Weather Service storm spotters in the area, it does have very strong rotation in here, but you see how far away from Des Moines. We're into Missouri, obviously, so we're high up, and they've said it's got strong rotation high up, but from reports on the ground, it hasn't really made it to the bottom of that storm yet. So while there is still a tornado warning, the area where that's spin in is still well into Missouri. And so it does look like for the moment now the weather offices that cover Missouri are going to extend that as a severe thunderstorm warning at the moment. It's got a very good hail core there. That bright pink stands out obvious, but it does look like so far most of the rotation is staying up in the middle of that storm and not necessarily out on the bottom, which is one of those tricks that we need folks like our volunteer firefighters, the sheriff deputies, our emergency managers that are out, those trained spotters can give us that idea of what is happening underneath what the radar can see. And at least for the moment, it's good news there because it's not spinning as bad as it looks on the radar.
Yeah, we really want to encourage, let the professionals do the chasing here, because these situations with all the ingredients in place can abruptly change. And right now we're seeing our greatest threat as hail. But I do want to let you know these warnings come to us from the National Weather Service. It's a paid government agency, but they put out different criteria for these warnings. And they're saying there is considerable damage potential here with these storms, obviously, if they're putting down some ping pong size hail. And that's what we've been seeing so far. But we're really focused along the southern border of the state and southeast Iowa, just because the winds at the surface are just a little bit different, enough to lead to some rotation potential. And obviously you get it here. Look at the difference in the winds here across the state. But distinctly around Pella and Ottumwa, the winds are out of the south. They've already shifted in northern Iowa. I need to show you that temperature map just one more time, because that really screams what's going on here, that we have a major weather story. 80 degrees in Ames. It's 37 degrees in Sioux City right now. Still very warm and unsettled along and east of I-35. I do think that cold front will be dropping through the state tonight. And yes, if you haven't heard yet, overnight tonight, the winds will be out of the north, 40 to 50 miles per hour, and even some snow showers will be possible. This is the dry line that we're continuing to monitor, and where the numbers are the highest, Des Moines, Knoxville, Ottumwa, Lamoni. That means that the dry air has not moved in just yet. So that's where the stage is set for some more strong to severe thunderstorms to develop. If you see any of your numbers where you live in the 50s or 60s, that equals a dangerous situation with a cold front coming in behind this as well, as we do kind of have the fight of two seasons going on. Let's go back through the warnings, and if you haven't heard yet, a tornado watch is in effect across most of the state. Again, throughout the next hour to 2 hours, we're going to be here with you because we want you to stay ahead of these storms. We also want you to feel like you're safe. We don't want you to be scared right now, as these storms do continue to produce heavy rainfall, some very strong winds, and some large hail. This severe thunderstorm warning for Boone, Dallas, Polk, Story County remains in effect until 3 p.m. The strongest part of this storm right now is on the north side of Des Moines, northern Polk County. If we could go in closer on this one severe thunderstorm warning here, just so we could take a look at it, that would be just to the south of Ames. It's right around Polk City at this point. This is the area in between Polk City and Granger, near Highway 141. Also northwest 118th Avenue, I believe, is where we're seeing it. Northwest 106th Avenue, you can see there. Where you see that deep purple, it kind of matches my dress. That indicates that we are seeing some large hail producers right now and some very heavy rainfall. Grimes was experiencing this about 10 minutes ago. So these storms are moving really fast off to the east, northeast. Let's go back out so I can walk you through a few more of the severe thunderstorm warnings, unless Brett has something else to offer to this.
Nope, we can keep going, kind of reset everything.
Yeah, let's go back to this one in between Newton and Knoxville right now. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Jasper and Marion County. That will remain in effect until 2:45 as well. Let's go in closer here. And again, the bright colors are indicating heavy rainfall, some very strong winds, but we also have the potential for large hail near Highway 14 in between Monroe and the Reesner community. Can we see what road? That's Highway F62W at this point. And all of these areas are indicating this would be an open farm field, most likely around Highway 14, also south of 104 and the Avenue West. I can also see some hail right here, and that is west. The street just disappeared there, but that would be near West 8th Street. And the community it's close to right now, can we go back out just a little bit? Oh, Monroe, there we go. It's just east of Monroe at this point. On the east side of Monroe is where we're seeing that potential for hail, and it looks like West 224th Street, Brett.
Yep,
My eyes aren't looking so good here. Can you break
Street.
that down for me?
Yep, West 24th Street there.
Okay,
that was the main one.
Thank you. All right, let's go to another severe thunderstorm warning. This one right here. Now, this is past I-35 at this point as it moves off to the east-northeast. This one doesn't look quite as strong, but what I am seeing here is some very strong wind gusts headed right for Highway 65. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Clark and Warren County, and that will be in effect until 2:45. Let's go to this one that does look fairly strong here, and that would be near Highway 65 at this point. And that severe thunderstorm warning includes, again, parts of Clark, Lucas, Warren County, and that's really in between Osceola and Sheraton. And you can see how Highway 65 is near hail right now. That's north of Lucas. These communities have already been experiencing heavy rainfall, but now the hail potential exists around Highway 550th Street there and 545. I'm going to make sure and wear my glasses next time. Brett, correct me if I say any of these roads wrong.
Yeah, we're right in there north of Lucas here on about to cross Highway 65. So we get 530th Street, 130th Trail up to 550th Street there. We take a little bit wider view again. This is the northeastern corner of Lucas County. Sheraton's right outside of the severe thunderstorm warning. You could get some gusty winds coming out of this. You're not at risk at the moment with this thunderstorm from hail, but you get to the Lacona, Melcher, Dallas area. Again, it's kind of almost the exact same track as the storm earlier today. So you folks have been through it already, got another round coming your way.
All right, let's go back down to Seymour, because just south of the Seymour community, I am definitely seeing more potential for hail as well. And that is near Highway 142. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:15. This includes Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, and Wayne County. And where you see this purple color is where we have the greatest likelihood of some large hail. Now, this storm will continue to track off to the east-northeast. This is part of the tornado warning that was over parts of Missouri here within the last half hour. It's now starting to make its way over the Iowa-Missouri border, and we're continuing to see the potential here for hail. What are you trying to show, Brett?
Yeah, I'm just getting in a close view here south of Seymour. Again, we're kind of right on the very edge of Iowa here. So south of Promise City, Cincinnati's out to the east. So south of Highway 2, west of Highway 5. Iowa's Highway 2 and Highway 5. Those are the areas. In Centerville, you're kind of right on the track here. We'll put a tracker on this for you. The latest scan here just came through, and again, you see that is very, very bright. So
it's
again, we're talking about
right here. Let's go in a little bit closer here, and that would be just right on the border, I believe, of Wayne and Appanoose County, correct?
Yep, right on the border here. We're kind of right on the state line is the south edge of this, where you see those double yellow lines. Again, that's kind of the edge of the Weather Service offices where those warnings are coming together. So this is the first couple miles of Iowa here south of Seymour. Highway S60, 100th Avenue, 600th Street. Again, this is bounded by Highways 2 and Highway 5, State Highway 2 and 5 here, southern Iowa. Warning for golf ball size hail here, but that could be maybe going up a little bit. And we're far away from the radar, so we're looking up. the more we see that bright pink in there, that's kind of, one is good news that it's still up there, but it's growing. So once that starts to disappear, where we're going to have maybe some issues with it falling out. The other thing that we pointed out earlier, meteorologist Gabe Prough, is where we have that kind of V shape, that V notch in there. That's another indication that our updraft there is very strong, maybe pushing that hail up and around it. So a healthy storm
right
here, we can get that out. Yeah.
Yeah, we're definitely concerned as that one advances off to the east, northeast. So let's track this severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Show you the big picture here. You can see lots of severe thunderstorm warnings popping up along the Iowa-Missouri border at this point. This is the strongest storm we're seeing as it moves off to the east, northeast at a speed of around 50 miles per hour. Are we clear that the storms are still tracking at around 50 for sure? We've got Gabe Prough here. Meteorologist Megan Salois is continuing to keep us updated. Ed Wilson as well. This is a look at some of the communities that will be impacted, and you can see Moravia by around 3:04. I want to remind you it is 2:37 in the afternoon. We're starting to see a little bit of a break around the city of Des Moines. Some stronger storms now firing up just south of I-80, but another very strong storm right now around Shadell and the Madrid area, and that will continue to move off to the east, northeast. But this is definitely strengthened, and that would be right near Highway 210 at this point, and that would be south of Madrid. Can you see the winds there? Yeah.
What we're looking at here, this is the mode where we'd be looking for spin. We'd be kind of taking the motion out. When we look at this is just straight out from the radar. And that bright red to bright pink, where we change over to pink there on Highway 210. Yeah. Between Madrid and Huxley. That is strong wind blowing away from Des Moines. And what we talked about earlier with the hail, when it starts to fall out a bit, it can create that strong wind gust out in front. That's what we're seeing right now on the radar. We still have it strong showing up. We're very close to the radar, so we're looking close to the ground level, but you can kind of see how maybe we were going underneath the hail over there by Granger and Polk City. Now it looks like
this is where the radar is located, right here.
That this may be the hail collapsing. The hail is coming out. It's pushing that wind just like if you push down on a balloon. As that hail comes down, it drags the air with it. It hits the ground. It's got to go somewhere, and that's north out of the storm. So maybe an increased risk right now, not only for the large hail on Polk and Boone County line, but north of there, the winds could be picking up significantly here in the next few minutes.
On that latest scan too, it looks stronger. So let's track that for folks just so they know exactly where that's moving here as that moves off to the east, northeast. And again, it's close to the Huxley area, but it's headed right for Ames. And the time here is 2:51. Right now, it's almost 2:40. So within the next 10 minutes, we're anticipating the storm capable of producing some hail near the Ames area.
Yep, and that's where the wind potential could go kind of straight out to the north as that storm moves on. So even if you're not, that's why the box here is bigger necessarily than the storm itself. I put the track on there. That's where the hail is headed, but that wind, just like if you're pushing down, that wind's going to kind of shoot out in all directions. So there is that risk for significant wind, even kind of out of if the storm itself doesn't move right over top of you.
All right, let's go back and show folks around the Des Moines area. There you can see this is near Slater right now, and that's where we're definitely seeing some hail returns, and this would be large hail returns right along 320th Street, Champaign Boulevard as well, and near 310th Street. Many of you in this community are probably familiar with these roads. X Avenue, some very large hail around that area, and that's also known as Highway 210.
So that is just north of the Polk County line there as you get into southern Boone and southwestern Story County at the moment. So downtown Des Moines, got to slip between these two thunderstorm warnings, it looks like. Again, that storm near Indianola kind of getting choked out by the one farther to the south. So we might be seeing that warning drop off here in just a bit, but to the north of the Des Moines Metro right now does look nasty. And
we have Roger Riley headed east here near Newton and Grinnell. I do want to go to this severe thunderstorm warning. We have Roger Riley out and about. Can somebody give me his location? He is actually near Grinnell now along I-80, and you can definitely see some dark clouds showing up there, but it's still dry across most of eastern Iowa, and he would be past Newton at this point. But this strong storm just south of I-80 near the Newton area is giving us some returns too that would show some large hail, and that would be just north of Reasoner, south of the Newton area. These areas are under a severe thunderstorm warning. That's Jasper County, and that will be in effect until 2:45. So I wouldn't be surprised if that one's extended, and this is probably it.
There it is. There's the new severe thunderstorm warning that's going to extend out. A couple, I think, here. We just had two double back-to-back here, so we're going to have, we'll start with that one, Jeriann, coming out of Newton, and then we'll go down to Knoxville after that from Marion County.
Let's start with this new severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and again, this would be east of the Des Moines metro area. This is where the highest concern is: Jasper, Marshall, Poweshiek, and Tama County. And this severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:45. These storms are blowing up and intensifying rapidly as they move off to the east-northeast. Now, we also do have one severe thunderstorm warning also in effect just to the south, which includes communities around Knoxville. And this severe thunderstorm warning just came in as well. And this storm is also capable of some large hail and very strong destructive winds. And we've been hearing from reports of some considerable damage with these very strong storms. Jasper, Lucas, Marion, Warren, your weather radio may be going up. Maybe your phone is dinging right now because of this severe thunderstorm warning in effect. The strongest part of this storm that I can visually see just by glancing at radar is near Lacoma. And again, that's headed right for Melcher, Dallas, once again, Knoxville, the Pleasant View community. And this is moving out of Indianola at this point. That other severe thunderstorm that's close to Indianola is moving off to the east. Let's put movement on here so you can see exactly what's setting up across the state. I do want to remind you it is 2:43, and we're glad you're staying safe here with us at WHO 13. Brett McIntyre is monitoring the radar situation. We've got Gabe Prough on our social media, continuing to keep you updated as well. Okay, Brett, what are you seeing?
We're keeping an eye here on these new severe thunderstorm warnings that are coming in. We've had some wind gusts from backyard weather stations around Slater of 40 to 50 mile per hour wind gusts. We were looking at that a little bit earlier, and we've got some more that we've got Gabe Prough here to give us some ideas of what we're getting in from our viewers here that have seen the hail around the Des Moines metro.
Yeah, Brett, we've gotten several reports now coming in as that cell really moved over some of those western metro areas. We're talking areas like Grimes, Clive, Waukee. This is a picture, a photo link sent in to us from Larry Grund in Grimes. We were just talking about this cell dropped enough hail to where it almost looks like a little bit of snow on the ground. And again, here's a current look at where that storm is now. It is pushing into Story County. Really, that hail, especially an issue just west of Huxley. These colors have really ramped up over just the last 5-10 minutes or so. That severe thunderstorm warning for Boone and Dallas counties, particularly where this cell is moving into, as well as into Story County with that golf ball sized hail threat. As Jeriann was just mentioning, this storm showing the potential of considerable damage. Here's a closer look. Really, Kelly is about to take almost a direct hit from this hail. These white colors indicating very, very large hail. When we look at the radar estimates here, this is estimating hail over an inch in size. Earlier, we were seeing estimates of about 1.5 inches. And that's why this storm is warned for a severe thunderstorm warning. Jeriann, I know you're about to kind of take a slice through the storm over there. What are you seeing?
All right, right now we're monitoring just how high these storms are developing. And you can see this is up 20,000 feet, but it gives us some indication. The higher it goes up, it's even well past that here within this storm, the larger the hail. And we've been getting numerous reports of golf ball size hail. One report just came in now in Marshall County, and that is a new report of some very large, destructive, damaging hail. This would be north of Polk City at this point. I really want to make sure we're watching areas just to the west of the metro as well, as we were anticipating one line of showers and thunderstorms to move out of the southern border and advance off to the east, northeast rather rapidly. But we're still concerned about that dry line, which almost looks like, to me, I'm curious if Brett's seen this too, right around the Adel community, that dry line's still there. Yep. So yeah, there you can distinctly see it there. And we keep pointing out these numbers, which may mean nothing to you, But these are very important numbers for a meteorologist because it gives us some indication of the moisture level, where we're starting to see the wind shift as well. And if you're in these areas, I'd say you're all clear right now because the dry line has passed through. Typically, we see our strongest storms right along it, and that's what we're seeing right along I-35 at this point. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and I do want to keep a close eye on Marshall County because I did just see some reports of some hail there. Looks like definitely some hail returns around the Newton community as well. So this is new, a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 3:45 for the next hour. It's around 2:46 at this point. It includes Jasper, Marshall, Poweshiek, and Tama County. And the strongest part of this storm is right along I-80. So you may be hearing from some of your loved ones. We also have this new severe thunderstorm warning in effect, and this includes Boone, Grundy, Hamilton, Hardin, Marshall, and Story County, and that's in effect until 3:45. But notice something different with this severe thunderstorm warning. It's saying hail size as high as 2 inches. So that's some very large hail that we've been seeing with this storm system. And right now, the strongest part of that storm is actually located just south of Ames. And again, remember, that's advancing off to the east-northeast. So that's also going to cross over I-35 here shortly. If you're on I-35 and you're past Elkhart and you're looking to the west, you're probably thinking, what is going on over here right now? Because this is where we're definitely seeing a large hailstorm that unfortunately will be destructive and lead to some damage.
We're watching that very carefully. Again, that 2 inches is now up over to egg-size hail, basically, if you can imagine that. And we saw similar returns like this last year, of course, with baseball-size hail in West Des Moines. So this is nothing to really mess around with. And I'll zoom in here tight, and I'll kind of rock this back and forth. This does look like the hail core is going to pass kind of right over Ames. It's about to move into Ames here at the moment. We zoom on in. It's coming in right on that Highway 30 corridor here in just the moment. So certainly the west half of Ames is about to experience some very large hail if it's falling out of the bottom of it. We'll get a look here at the Gateway Hotel camera, and yeah, definitely does not look great there. We'll keep an eye on this as it moves on through, because this may just be the heavy rain side of it yet. As I look toward the ground, I don't see anything bouncing here at the moment, but this is going to get worse.
Yeah, it's going to get worse before it gets better. The time right now is 2:48. We are on air because we have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We're definitely concerned about some very large hail around the Ames area. These storms are tracking right along I-35, also right along I-80. Iowa City is not a place I'd want to be driving in the next hour. If you're hearing from loved ones who are caught in this, tell them to pull over, head to the nearest gas station as well, as this hail is large enough that it could be breaking your windshield and leading to some damage. Now, we're also continuing to watch some very strong winds, and there's some indication this is going to lead to a lot of rainfall, which could lead to some ponding on the roadways and even some flooding in this situation. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect in between Newton and Grinnell. Again, we're drawing your attention to the purple color, and that's just indicating where we're seeing the highest returns of some hail at this point. And as we start to see the white, it gives us some indication that the hail is strengthening and growing in size as well. We do have Roger Riley out in the elements. We want him to be safe as well. Roger, can you tell us where you are?
Yeah, Jeriann, I'm at the I-80 rest stop eastbound, just southwest of Grinnell, which is a good place to be safe. I've been watching this storm since it had a tornado warning, an hour or so ago. I guess the warning just passed over the Newton area, a warning for Jasper County and Poweshiek County. I'm looking west over I-80, looking right at it. It's a ways, it's like several 8 or 9 miles probably away from me. So I'm not really in any harm's way or anything, but it's going off to the north and west. And we've had some tremendous, just steady winds here from the south over the last few hours. Temperature right now 69 degrees, and really no sign of any really severe weather here, other than just we've been waiting for this to get here. And as you can see, it's just kind of moving off to the north and west and doesn't look ominous at all at this point. But that's kind of what we're seeing here along I-80 near Grinnell, Jeriann.
Roger, we are so grateful for your reports, but I do want you to call your loved ones in Ames right now, because this is what we're starting to see from the Ames cam. I just saw on my phone my neighbors are there for a surgery and just wondered what's the weather going to do? What's happening? Well, you can see here, unfortunately, this is some large hail, and this would be right along Highway 30 at this point at Duff Avenue. But that is some hail, and if you were caught in this situation, you need to pull over. You need to find a safe shelter. Now, we don't recommend getting under these overpasses as well. Obviously, in a hail situation, that might be a little bit better than being out in the elements. But this is not the time to leave your school, your place of work, or your house if you're around this community, because unfortunately, hail like this can lead to some major damage rapidly.
We've been keeping an eye on our Gateway Hotel camera as well from the Ames area. We've seen the hail starting to show up here and kind of bounce a little bit. You may have seen it at the bottom of your screen here from time to time. So we're watching that really increase as that bright area here on radar begins to pass right over Highway 30. This is Ames itself right now, right over Lincoln Way. This could be a little bit of a mess here. University Boulevard and Beach right in between there. That's Jack Trice Stadium. So Morrill Road here, right at the bottom of our radar banner. That area, I'll circle it. That would be the Iowa State campus right in here. This would be all of campus. Over here is Jack Trice Stadium, Hilton Coliseum. So that's the area that we're talking about right now here in Ames. But West Street Deli, Lincoln Way out this way. Big hail.
Yeah, very large hail, unfortunately, right around Lincoln Way. This storm is under a severe thunderstorm warning, and we're continuing to see the hail really just explode and expand. You can see that marker there of Iowa State University here with the strongest part of the storm really just surrounding the university, hitting the city of Ames at this point. This storm is rapidly moving off to the east, northeast. I do want to back it up just a little bit if we can show folks where we do have a few other severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We do have some reports of hail around Ames. You can see it here on US 30 and South Dakota, and I know it looks like it snowed there, but unfortunately this is some large hail, and those vehicles are paying a hefty price being out on the roads right now. At 2:53 in the afternoon, we do have numerous thunderstorms moving right along I-35 and I-80. If you know some loved ones traveling in these communities, we really want you to stay put and find a safe spot.
Yeah, we've got reports coming in from the Story County Emergency Manager that squad cars at the Iowa State campus getting pummeled by hail. No size report there, but we have had golf ball size hail reported now from West Des Moines, or west side of Ames coming in. So we've got it right there. Again, we were looking at that camera. There's South Dakota there on the left side of your screen, Lincoln Way. I lived out there, had an apartment there one time. So this is an area that's pretty familiar. And again, it does look like right through the Iowa State campus, all the way over, really almost all of Ames proper here at this point has taken at least one punch out of this guy. And it's got a big signature on it.
Yeah, and as that next scan comes through, it's not weakening. If anything, it's stronger. And this would be just south of the Gilbert community as well. And we're checking here just to see if there's any rotation potential as well. I'm not seeing it, but you definitely distinctly see some hail returns.
Yeah, it looks like any rotation is probably going to be farther up in the storm, just the way this has got a hook on it. You can tell it's spinning, but when we looked there, that was the lowest cut from the radar, and it didn't look like there was anything really tight or dramatic at the bottom of the storm. So that's good news on that front, at least.
Right. And these communities remain under a severe thunderstorm warning. Let's go back out here in case you're in another community right now wondering what's going on. We're seeing large hail, a lot of it around Ames. This, to me, now I'm starting to see a little more of a line here just to the west of Ames as well, and Des Moines. You can see those storms lifting off to the east, northeast. Pretty strong storm near Grinnell at this point. Sheraton, heavy rainfall. We've got Roger Riley there. He's been monitoring some very dark clouds along I-80. And again, we really think the stage is set for these storms to strengthen in these communities as we go throughout the next hour or two. It's almost 3 p.m. and we are expecting these storms that are fast moving to clear the state, or at least central Iowa, here by 6 p.m. at the latest. I am starting to see a few more thunderstorm warnings fire up just to the east here around Davenport. Of course, we're continuing to monitor the Iowa-Missouri border, and that's where we have more thunderstorms firing up. It looks like a tornado warning just south of the Kirksville area. These are dropping not only large hail, but producing some strong winds and some very heavy rainfall that's leading to some ponding on the roadways. Thankfully, we haven't had any reports of damage so far. I would guess, based on what we're seeing on radar, this hail is definitely causing some problems, and we don't have any rotation showing up at this point. The thing we're seeing right now is just these storms intensifying, producing hail, large hail. Now, let's look at that one right around Centerville right now. This was a concern as this one moved over the Iowa-Missouri border. And you can see there is some potential of the winds going in both directions. Brett, you're seeing that too, correct?
I'm seeing that right now, and we also, just as you were talking about that, law enforcement says Centerville getting baseball-sized hail right now.
Yeah, that's no surprise based on these radar returns here right now. You can see right around the Centerville community, this would be Highway 5, Highway 2 right here in the heart of the city. We're starting to see some very large hail. This would be on the northeast side of Centerville at this point. Also near Highway, is that T14 there?
T14, it does look like, and just between Centerville and Mystic, going kind of right in between there.
Yeah, just south of the Rathbun area as well. All these radar returns are not pretty at all. That white color just means that the potential for the hail is growing and it's getting larger as well. Our largest reports have been between golf ball size and ping pong size hail, but it's fairly widespread, this hail threat. These storms, again, will continue to track off to the east, northeast. Moravia, get ready for things to change rather abruptly, and also Blakesburg, and that will be by around 3:14 this afternoon. We will continue to see this storm capable of producing some large hail move closer to the Blakesburg community. It is now almost 3 p.m. on this last day of March. We're glad you're staying with us here at WHO 13. We're not going to leave you because we want to continue to track these very dangerous storms that are moving through. I am thankful to report that it's all severe thunderstorm warnings right now, but that doesn't mean that it's not causing damage or a very dangerous situation, because what we're seeing around Ames, unfortunately, is a lot of large hail that could lead to some destruction. We're also seeing lots of hail reports here. It looks like near or in between Newton and Grinnell. You seeing what I'm seeing right here?
Yep.
Brett?
Yep, we do have that kind of large hail signature again, right between Kellogg and Gilman, the northeastern corner here of Jasper County, working its way toward, it's going to be the intersection here of Marshall, Tama, Poweshiek County and Jasper County here, kind of going to move right over that Four Corners region. Story County is going to activate their outdoor warning sirens for Gilbert, Story City, and Roland because of the large hail there, the golf ball, and maybe even larger hail that's falling. So northern towns in Story County, from the emergency manager, the outdoor warning sirens are going to be sounded here shortly. That warning that we were looking at here for Centerville has been upgraded to a destructive tag here on our severe thunderstorm warning.
This is getting way worse right here.
2.75-inch hail is what they're going with right now. So again, that warning would now be officially for baseball-sized hail after a couple of reports around Centerville.
All right, let's go back to the radar and the set. Well, you can distinctly see that storm strengthening, unfortunately, and that would just be to the east of Mystic, right around Rathbun right now. This is moving rapidly off to the east, northeast, near Highway 5. Wow, just to the east of Highway 5, it looks like it's strengthening as well. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Appanoose, Davis, Monroe County because of 2.75-inch hail in diameter. That is extremely large hail with some very strong winds and unfortunately a very intense, dangerous situation that's leading to some considerable damage. We want to walk through the warnings here and just let you know, Des Moines is dry right now, but I'm still worried. You see this line developing just to the west here, right through Dallas County. That would be a wind shift line. So once we get through that in the next hour, but I do think as these storms continue to move into a very unstable atmosphere, it is going to be rough here for the next hour or two. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:45. That's Boone, Grundy, Hamilton, Hardin, Marshall, Story counties all included in this. So a very large area, and that's just because that storm had a history of producing some very large hail over a very widespread area as well. Let's go to that other severe thunderstorm warning. This one includes communities around Grinnell. That severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:45. Again, it is 3:01. We want to remind you, we are covering this live on our website as well. You just hit on live streaming. Go to WHO13.com. Let your loved ones know that may be pulled over in the car wanting to know what's going on. These storms will move through fast in many areas. However, parts of southern Iowa have been hit multiple times. We also have this severe thunderstorm warning in effect for Jasper, Lucas, Marion, and Warren County, and that severe thunderstorm warning will remain in effect until 3:30. And this is also a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect that we've been focusing a lot about on that large hail around Appanoose County. It includes parts of Davis and Monroe, and that county will remain under a severe thunderstorm warning until 3:15. Okay, we have a new tornado warning. Let's go in closer on this one. And this is where we've been seeing those hail reports as well. That tornado warning, I would guess, includes areas around Centerville. And that tornado warning is in effect until 3:45. Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, Wapello, the storm system has been upgraded. And lots of times when we have large hail with these storms and we have the dynamics for rotation, this is distinctly where we're seeing some rotation right now. And is that Udell? I want to make sure I'm saying
right there,
yeah.
And just to the southwest of Unionville.
And that would be near Highway 2 as well. Now that is past Centerville at this point, but near Unionville, as you mentioned, and you can see some hail on the west side of the storm system and then a hook echo right here. And we're seeing some radar returns that would indicate some rotation with this storm. That's why the tornado warning is in effect for these counties. The speed of it, are we sure it's still moving off to
the speed right now? It's about 7 miles northeast of Centerville, moving northeast at 60 miles per hour, picking up a little bit of speed here. Tornado and baseball-size hail are the threats here on this storm.
Okay, and the road it is about to cross here would be 294th Avenue. And this is near Udell and also 485th Street. Unionville, a definite concern with this storm as it will. Let's put the tornado icon on here. But again, we want you to know this is only radar indicated. We're not getting any reports so far of this reaching the ground, but we're going to continue to watch it. This is where we're seeing the rotation potential here. And this storm will continue to move off to the east, northeast at a speed of around 30 miles per hour. It's right along the Iowa-Missouri border, again in eastern Iowa, just south of the Moravia area, Unionville area as well.
We've got those green arrows, or the green area, again, going back toward Des Moines, the red coming away, so we get that spin in between there, and there it goes kind of right to near the Udell area. Again, a little bit messy as we get farther away from the radar. Of course, we've got the hail up in there as well that the radar is going to be bouncing off of, but that spin right there between Udell and Unionville here in the southeastern part of our viewing area. Again, we can kind of try to peek in here and look to see what we've got going on in terms of a debris signature. Again, there's a lot of large hail in there, so that's farther back away from kind of where the tornado would be. That's what we would expect to see with the large hail as well, but something we'll be keeping a close eye on. There's a lot of junk here kind of up in that storm right now.
Yeah, this is definitely our strongest storm located on radar right now. And this would be just south of Moravia. This would be along the Iowa-Missouri border. This started in Missouri and moved into Iowa here within the last half hour. It is 3:05 at this point. It looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect. This tornado warning includes Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, and now also Wapello County, and that will be in effect until 3:45. Let's track this storm because we can see the hook right here, and that will continue to move at a speed of around 60 miles per hour off to the east, northeast. Some communities in this would be Ottumwa, and that would be by around 3:26. So they're moving that fast. It's 3:05 right now. If you're in Ottumwa, you know where I want you to go. I want you to go to the basement right now. I want you to put as many walls between you and the outside. The lowest level is best. If you don't have a lower level, we get it. There's a bathroom, there's an interior room, there's a closet that has no windows as well, and get under something sturdy. But most importantly, we want you to stay away from windows. The strongest storms across the state right now are located along the Iowa-Missouri border, and we're seeing a break in western Iowa. No storms there, but everything's firing up now east of I-35. Is this a real return coming in around Polk County at this point? I'm just wondering if we're seeing some redevelopment of thunderstorms, or that's a false return there.
No.
Oh no, it could be redeveloping here as we're starting to see that wind shift move in from the west. So we've got about another hour at least before I'm feeling better about the highly populated areas being in the clear from these thunderstorms. This is where we're seeing the strongest storm. That area in red should get your attention. We've been seeing reports of very large hail. Radar returns indicating some spin rotation. We haven't heard from anybody in those areas that this is actually reaching the ground.
Not to this point.
No.
This remains a radar indicated tornado, again, right over Unionville. Again, latest rotation here is maybe a little bit weaker, but in terms of that red and green being tight together, but you do note the hook there, a little bit of a dropout, so it does still look like that is got a lot of lift going with it. Certainly there's still good hail signature there as well. So Unionville, you are kind of right on the tip here, right where we would expect that tornado to be at the moment. So please stay in your place of shelter. That new severe thunderstorm warning that popped up while we were zoomed in there tight, believe it or not, is for the same area. It's for another thunderstorm that's right behind it.
Here.
So this is one of those setups that we don't like to see when folks maybe take damage or large hail or strong winds, and then another one coming behind, because even if you don't maybe take damage from the first one, trees can get kind of weakened from that first batch, and then the second one comes through, and you're talking about maybe trees or limbs that are already compromised. So there's one severe thunderstorm warning and tornado warning in place for areas just to the northeast of Centerville, and then there's an entirely separate one that's going to go even longer.
Yeah, and this one is right around Seymour once again, and that's where we saw a different thunderstorm warning not that long ago. But these communities are under this severe thunderstorm warning: Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, Wapello, Wayne County, and that will be in effect until 3:45. The time is now 3:08. I want to bring you back here a little bit and show you the big picture all across the state. As many kids are starting to get dismissed from school, it's about that time to wonder, hey, what's going on with the weather? And I just want to remind you, the school is the safest spot for you to be. The hail is starting to weaken just a little bit around the Ames area as well, but I'm still seeing this line just off to the west. It gives me some area of concern that I'd like you to wait for at least another half hour as these storms continue to move rapidly off to the east, northeast before you feel like you're completely in the clear. But it distinctly looks like to me right now that our strongest storms are located along and east of I-35. So if you're in western Iowa, the threat has really went down. But unfortunately for some of these communities, the threat is going up because these storms are hitting during the peak heating of the day. We checked in with Roger Riley not that long ago around the Grinnell community, and I'm guessing conditions there may be changing. Maybe he started to get on the road. We definitely want him to be in a safe spot, but it does look like these storms just to the south of Grinnell are still capable of producing some hail, and we're watching the strongest storm right now located along the Iowa-Missouri border, and that's where we're seeing some rotation indication as well as some very large hail. So even if you're experiencing large hail with these storms, it doesn't mean that you're not going to experience a tornado as well. It almost looks like that tornado warning has extended to me. Let's go in closer to just the red box so we can let people know who is in this tornado warning. And it's really communities in between Unionville, Blakesburg area. This is where we've been mapping out for you. Let's go in just a little bit closer to see what roads are right around here as well. It looks like to me it's on the county line here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's right there, about to work its way into the Wapello County area, into Davis County, as it kind of gets across here. Those warnings in place here for another little bit until 3:45. So we've got another 35 minutes to go. Appanoose here, where Unionville and up into Monroe County, and then over to Wapello, which would be the Ottumwa area north of Drakesville, would be Davis County. So that's where our tornado warning is in place here at the moment. Looks like the area of rotation is probably going to go south of Blakesburg, but they're going to be kind of right in the areas that have picked up baseball and even tennis ball size hail. A couple of reports coming out of the Centerville area.
That, to me, it looks like it's on track, but it could even be south of Ottumwa as that moves off to the east, northeast. But the worst part of the storm at this point, is just south of Blakesburg and actually just south of Moravia. We're seeing our strongest winds around Unionville at this point.
When we talk about eastern Iowa, again, we said earlier as these storms move to the east, there's going to be a bit more spin. That's what's happening. We're going to keep an eye on this storm near Knoxville. Again, it's starting to look like it's getting more of that supercell shape, and it does look like maybe some rotation developing there. So if you're in Pella, this would be a good time to get to shelter. There's some large hail incoming, but maybe starting to see that tighten up as it moves into that area where winds are more out of the south or even slightly to the southeast, where it's going to have some more spin to tap into. So we're going to keep a close eye on those storms. Talking about that tornado warning near Centerville, Gabe Prough has got more for us over at the Big Wall.
Yeah, that storm that has really just now moved through Centerville. We were showing you on radar how big the hail potential was, and we've now been getting in some viewer photo link pictures here. Tammy's sending this one from Centerville. This certainly looks more along the lines of baseball-sized hail. A couple other reports here coming in as well. This one, you can get the ruler out here, almost 2 inches in diameter here. Danielle sending this one in from Centerville. And then we were also showing you just shortly ago that storm that moved through Ames. This is a picture from there. Once again, this almost looks like the ground it has snowed there with this picture. Meteorologist Megan Selwa bringing out some of these viewer photos. This one from Matt Nelson. Another picture here also from the Ames area. This one coming in from Mallory. A little smaller there. These looking more about like golf ball sized hail there. And then this is maybe even some smaller hail as that storm has pulsed down a little bit now in the Ames area. This one coming in from Amy. This is from the Iowa State campus here. Before I send it back to you guys, Brett and Jeriann, I do want to mention now we do have actually winter storm warnings in effect for northern Iowa now. That just shows you how dynamic this system is, and we could very well be looking at accumulating snow on the backside of this system. But of course, we want to get you back to that tornado warning that's ongoing now, Brett and Jeriann.
I'm seeing some new information here too. Now, this is not confirmed. This is the Weather Service just giving us a heads up. They're hearing from a spotter that a rotating wall cloud is located 3 miles east-southeast of Udell. And that would be the storm that we've been showing you south of Unionville. Now, this report came in not that long ago. It says around 3:12. It's 3:14. But we've been showing you this with this storm, and you can still distinctly see that hail return there too. And this would be south of Blakesburg. Right there is where we would be seeing that rotation potential.
Very, very strong. Again, we talked about it maybe spreading out a little bit. It does look a little bit tighter again now near Unionville. So again, as we get close here to the county lines, this does look like we have a strong signature for tornado. Another thing to note as this thing starts to wrap up a little bit, I can Go ahead and circle it here for you, where we have that little bit of a dropout in the radar. That is kind of the indication of where the updraft of this storm is, where everything is lifting up in the storm. We don't have rain, we don't have hail, things falling out there. So it does indicate that this storm's still very healthy. Obviously, the fact that the big hail signature remains there as well is another clue, but a lot of things adding up now when we look at this on radar and then combine it with what you just said, that we're hearing from spotters in the area, that this thing not only is spinning, not only is still strong, but is starting to get that spin down to the lowest levels of the storm and putting that tornado warning kind of into focus here.
Okay, I am getting numerous reports of large hail as well, and that would be around the Knoxville community, which matches up with radar as well. And we're also hearing reports of some really strong winds once that storm system passes. And I think that's what we're seeing on radar right now, just west of Des Moines, that I keep pointing out. That line right through Dallas County near Polk City. Yeah, you can see it here. Look at those winds, 40 to 50 miles per hour. So that is still coming through the city of Des Moines at not a great time when kids are getting home from school or you're getting home from work. We have these strong winds that will be with us within the next half hour that will be blowing through. Look at some of these gusts right now, 55 miles per hour around the Creston area, 40 mile per hour wind gusts around Grinnell as well. And that's pretty typical with this type of storm setup. The strongest storms overall, once you get past these winds of 50 to 60 miles per hour between Dallas and Polk County, is where we are seeing hail. Obviously, the tornado warning, the red right now, is a great concern, as well as we are seeing some rotation potential. Centerville to right around Ottumwa is where our strongest storms are located. That tornado warning is still in effect for Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, and Wapello County. If you're in these communities shaded in red right now along the Iowa-Missouri border in the southeast corner of the state, we want you to be in the safest spot possible. Okay, now I'm starting to see the hook not quite as defined here, but it's definitely east of the Blakesburg area that's just getting hit hard with hail at this point. But the greatest potential for rotation would be south of Blakesburg.
Yeah, we've got that the wind speed showing up very nicely there. So probably, you know, we could be talking about some rain-wrapped conditions here as we get more of that to show up. Let's go ahead and we'll switch over here and look at some of the views here of what's going on shape-wise. Again, maybe a little bit of a drop out there where we could be talking about something getting picked up here, whether it's trees or vegetation or something out of the cornfields, but we get away from those kind of dark purple, the burgundy. Once we start to get into those yellows to even white, that means we've got a lot of different shapes up there. So we get up where the hail is, that's normal. Again, it's not as uniform down here where we have that rotation, so that is maybe a little bit of a concern that something's kind of getting pulled up, and it may just be picked up from wind speeds that have kind of blown the dust out of what's been some very dry fields out there. So that can get kicked up into the radar too, but certainly still spinning there. Again, we have those little pockets where we kind of have the rain, it drops out. We go from those yellow and oranges down to blue. Still some areas that might mean where everything is still going up into the storm rather than falling down.
We do have a camera in southeast Iowa, right around the Fairfield community. I'm just curious if you could pull that up. Oh, Ottumwa, that would be great, just to kind of check the latest sky conditions right around Ottumwa, and that's where we're starting to see the rain, and it definitely looks like some hail headed that way as well. And you can see through the Ottumwa cam, just looks like some dark clouds to me, definitely darkening clouds there with some rain in the distance. All right, let's go back to radar if we can and walk you through these severe thunderstorm warnings. It's almost 3:20 at this point. I know a lot of schools dismissing around this time, so we want to keep everyone safe. We want you to know what's happening here along I-35, really near Highway 175, and that would be past Jewell and just south of Williams. We do have that storm that moved through the Ames area. This is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for about the next half hour until 3:45. Grundy, Hamilton, Hardin, Story County, all in this severe thunderstorm warning because of the fact it's been producing some very large hail. We saw ping pong size hail reported, golf ball size hail reported, $half size hail reported, but enough to lead to some considerable damage. Where you see the hot pinks is indicating some large hail. Where you see the whites, it's getting even larger. So the hail is continuing to be the main focus with that severe thunderstorm warning. City of Des Moines is starting to see some very strong winds, but the strongest storms right now are east of I-35 and right along the southern border of the state. And that's where a tornado warning is in effect. We've had numerous storms producing large hail in these same spots as well. So that tornado warning remains in effect until 3:45. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning in effect as well. I believe it's this one. Was the new severe thunderstorm warning coming into effect?
I think they added to kind of piggyback on this tornado warning right here on the north side of Ottumwa. So just kind of an extension of the old one here. That'll be Davis, Mahaska, Monroe, Wapello until 4 o'clock. Again, baseball size hail possible there. Shrinking the storm as it moves out of Marshall County into Tama County. So some good news there. Over on Max 2. Gabe Prough pulled in some video for us from one of our viewers in West Ames of the hail as it fell. This is what it looked like. A lot of hail, some of it large.
Wow.
Again, it does look like that will be a mess, as we dealt with last August, I think it was, with the large hail in Des Moines, on the west side of Des Moines.
It was during the Iowa State Fair.
Yes.
Yes, we both remember that day, unfortunately. Boy, that's some large hail.
Yeah, there's also some pictures there from Centerville. We are just continuing to see those in of this nearly baseball-sized hail that moved through. And it does look like as that warning has been extended to include that maybe western half of that tornado-warned cell near Ottumwa, the Weather Service is saying, yeah, we could have that hail almost 3 inches in diameter as the cell pushes off north and east.
Brett, let's go back to this is why we're on air right now. There is a tornado warning still in effect along the southern border of the state. And right now it is just south of the Blakesburg area. But we believe this is in a rural area near Highway 63. But it is headed right for the Ottumwa area, which we took you to the cams to just show you that it is dark. It is starting to rain in some of these areas. It's raining right around Eddyville. We do have a line of hail here as well. But I want to go back out, if we can, and show you the satellite and the radar from across the upper Midwest, just so folks at home can get a visual of where you are and where these storms are actually located as well. And we are continuing to watch the strongest storms right along I-35, east of I-35, definitely intensifying near Oskaloosa, Ottumwa, Newton, Grinnell, Waterloo, Cedar Rapids. This is about the time period we thought these storms would be strengthening. Also right around Highway 20, Highway 30, but it does look clear just to the west. And we are getting reports of some very strong winds right now as that dry line is pushing through right around 3:22 in the afternoon. And the winds are really, really strong, kicking up around 50 miles per hour. The winds will be out of the north, which will start to make it feel a whole lot colder. Cold enough for some snow. If you missed it earlier, winter storm warnings now in effect overnight tonight for the northern border of the state, where we'll continue to see snowfall. Let's get back to radar, because we are watching all these severe thunderstorm warnings continue to spin up, and we do think it will get worse before it gets better within the next hour. These storms should move out of central Iowa into eastern Iowa by 5, 6 o'clock at the latest. Again, these yellow boxes are all indicating some severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. We have a new severe thunderstorm warning going into effect right now. This is a tornado warning in effect for southeast Iowa. This new severe thunderstorm warning that just came into effect is in effect until 4 p.m. This includes parts of Jasper, Mahaska, Marion, Poweshiek, and Tama counties. And if we could go check out that storm just to see where the strongest part of the storm is over these counties right now. To me, it looks like near Grinnell, but really right along I-80. This purple would indicate the line where we are seeing some large hail. And at this point, that's crossing right over I-80. So you may be hearing from some of your loved ones wondering what's going on. It's large hail at this point, and it's fairly intense. It's headed right for Grinnell and right along Highway 146 there as well. But we're concerned about all that traffic on I-80 if they're going to Iowa City. We have Roger Riley in this location. Roger, are you staying safe? It does look like some lowering of the clouds there.
Yeah, this is one that's been behind. We had that one go through earlier the last time I talked to you. Now, this is another one. It looks a little more impressive. You know, you mentioned it could have some hail in it, I would agree. But yeah, it's just about to roll through here. It's starting to rain a little bit here. Temperature here is 69 degrees. And as you can see, the traffic's rolling right along. But yeah, it's just been moving in, getting a lot closer the last 10 minutes or so, Jeriann. Looks to be heading almost straight east down I-80 toward Grinnell.
Roger, did you talk to any of your loved ones in Ames that experienced all that large hail?
Yeah, I talked to my son. He's at Iowa State, and he sent me some video, which we will get on the air at some point. Just large hail hitting the building in Iowa State, and my grandkids are out playing in the hail. They think it's pretty cool. But yeah, as far as I know, there's no major issues with it. But yeah, serious hail in Ames. You are correct about that.
Okay, thank you, Roger Riley, for your live reports.
Yep.
And we're going to keep Roger Riley there right now. That's where that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect. He feels like he's in a safe spot, pulled over, thankfully, not driving. We have more storms firing up in between Unionville and Centerville. Well, this is the same storm, but it's continuing to show radar returns of heavy rainfall as well as some large hail. And that storm is getting closer to Ottumwa as well. That's where that tornado warning is in effect.
Riley was on the border here of Wapello and Davis counties. Jeriann, I'm going to toss it back to you.
Yeah, that happens. Brett has been here since around 1 o'clock this afternoon, keeping you all safe. We're stopping at the point here on radar to just show you where we are seeing the potential for that rotation here. We're always looking for these red and greens. But the best way to necessarily see this is spotters on the ground, and that's what a lot of the emergency managers do to inform you of exactly what's going on here in these situations. We've definitely had reports of hail, and right now it looks like some more hail headed right for Highway 63. The Eddyville area dealing with the strong part of this thunderstorm. We're now tracking this rotation potential through Ottumwa, kind of on the south side of town at around 3:34. It is 3:27 in the afternoon, and again, the place we want you to be if your community is popping up here is in the basement. And if you can't get to a basement, an interior room or closet is also a great place to go. I'm starting to think as we get closer here to around 3:30, things should start to you can see some more thunderstorms kind of popping around the Des Moines metro area. We are seeing another round here push through, and this was a line of concern right along I-35 that will continue to produce those very strong winds, as we pointed out, the 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. What we've been seeing so far is a lot of reports of some large hail, ping pong size, golf ball size, $half size, even almost 3 inches in diameter. So that's some very large hail. The Ames community, Roger was talking about the hail going through there. Is still a thunderstorm around there. I wouldn't leave my house if I was in Ames just yet. I'd give it another hour before I think these strong to severe thunderstorms will be a non-issue along I-35. So please stay put. We're seeing another thunderstorm kind of pop up at the West Mixmaster right now. Again, these are below severe weather criteria. They're not in a severe thunderstorm warning. Where we have these yellow orange boxes is where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect. Let's go back up here to around Highway 20 because I am seeing some indication of some more large hail. Iowa Falls, just south of Williams right now. But again, this would be along I-35. So folks traveling north on I-35 past Ames are now encountering this hail. And the severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Hamilton as well as Hardin County until around 3:45. And these storms are capable of an inch in diameter hail as well as some very strong winds. They've had a history of producing some considerable damage, at least that's what it looks like on radar. And then Iowa Falls, you will be experiencing this strong thunderstorm shortly. Again, we're watching Montezuma, the Grinnell area. Just south of Oskaloosa is where we do have that very strong to severe thunderstorm. Severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 4 p.m. for parts of Jasper, Mahaska, Marion, Poweshiek, and Tama County. And we also still have that tornado warning in effect.
Yeah, we just have a new report coming in. This is nearing 10 minutes ago from that tornado-warned storm. This is 8 miles south-southwest of Ottumwa in Wapello County. A report of a funnel cloud. This is from a storm chaser saying there's also a rotating wall cloud, which you also will see, which precedes a tornado. So as of at least of almost 10 minutes ago, no tornado reported or observed, but there is that funnel cloud that's been reported. And also in that northern storm report of ping pong ball sized hail in downtown Pella with that cell that's moving through. Just
okay, I do want to go back to that Pella cell, and we're going to go back on radar to that direction that they indicated where the rotation was occurring. But we're also seeing, as you could see, that was Ottumwa of the dark clouds there. This is a storm system right around Pella. And at this point, we're just getting reports of heavy rainfall and some hail, correct?
Yeah, we had ping pong ball size hail in Pella, just to the south of Pella, or to the south of Sully, northeast of Pella. A little bit of rotation there, but ping pong ball size hail a few minutes ago, as we were talking about in Pella, all the way up to Grinnell now, as Roger's been watching for us. So those are kind of the two main areas of concern. That northern severe thunderstorm warning kind of continues to shrink, so it does look like this is continuing to move on to the east. I don't know if we've got my camera up or not. I know, Jeriann, you've been pointing this out for a while here, the line out to the west. You talked about that first blue line. I'll kind of zoom in on it. The first one that shows up was that cold outflow from the first thunderstorms. I thought that dry line was maybe stalled a little bit, but now you can point out, you see how that is. There's a second one that came in. There's the dry line slamming into that, and that's what's producing new thunderstorms. This
is exactly what we were concerned about right now, but I'm really relieved at this point they're only producing 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts. I know that's still not ideal situation, but we're still concerned as they move off to the east to a very unsettled situation. So it's around 3:32 in the afternoon. We're thankful you're staying with us. We want to keep you safe, not scared. You are watching WHO 13. We're going to continue to stay here with these thunderstorm warnings and even one tornado warning in effect for southeast Iowa until we feel like the threat has cleared the state. But this is what we've been talking about all afternoon. That's a trigger mechanism that will continue to move off to the east here throughout the afternoon and could unite some additional thunderstorms. A strong thunderstorm right around Grinnell at this point, a strong thunderstorm around Ottumwa capable of some rotation. We've been seeing it on radar and in some of the clouds as well. Let's go closer with this storm system, and this is where that tornado warning is in effect, and I believe it's in effect for the next 15 minutes. But again, we're trying to watch the rotations here of the colors, and you can distinctly see how there's green and red, so the winds are fighting for control here, and that gives us some indication that rotation is possible. That tornado warning is in effect until 3:45, so about the next 15 minutes. Davis and Wapello County. This storm also had a history of large hail. It's a myth if you hear, hey, you have large hail, means you can't have a tornado. That's not the case at all. And some of these could even be rain wrapped as they're producing some very heavy rainfall. So flooding would be a concern too.
Yeah, and this is definitely your time, Ottumwa, that area of rotation kind of moving right overhead here at the moment. So again, as we've been telling folks here, you want to get down into those lowest levels, get those safety plans in action now.
Let's go back to the Ottumwa camera if we can. Now, I'm not sure, okay, there we go. We're looking live at Ottumwa, and you can distinctly see the rain there, the very dark clouds moving through. Oh, good. We can turn that camera. Are you doing that, Brett?
No, that is not us, but someone's looking out for us.
Thank you for moving that camera. Wow, it looks like some really heavy rainfall right now and some darkening clouds, but I'm not seeing any funnels, thankfully. But we are definitely seeing on radar the potential here for a funnel cloud to develop.
Yeah, it's something we'll keep a close eye on. Again, not only do we have that area of rotation kind of right over Ottumwa here at the moment, We're keeping an eye on this storm that's in northern Mahaska County, kind of right on the edge of Mahaska and Poweshiek and Jasper. And that also has a hook on it. Again, we've been talking about whether or not these are getting down to the ground level, and there is some rotation. So again, we're relying on folks that are in the area that are watching the bases of these thunderstorms to tell us what's going on. And we're getting another update here from the National Weather Service that it has showed consistent good rotation, but hasn't really intensified or lowered much. Again, it's better on some of the higher level scans and hasn't been as great necessarily at the bottom. So they got a close eye on it here. But no tornado warning yet for this one. And
that would be east of Pella, kind of south of the Linville community right now. The storm tracking near Montezuma and Grinnell, right over I-80. That's where we have our Roger Riley. Roger Riley, what are you seeing right now at 3:35?
Yeah, Jeriann, this thing has come over me, and it's just been for the last 5-10 minutes. It's been raining really hard. No hail though, but no hail. No wind, just basically heavy rain. And that's been going on for not quite 10 minutes. Then that's all. I can't even see the interstate from here. It's raining so hard.
Well, I'm glad you're pulled over. You feel like you're in a safe spot?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm right by the rest stop. If there is a funnel, I can run inside real quick.
Okay. Love it, Roger. Thank you for that live report. That would be southwest of Grinnell. That's what we're showing you here on radar. Of course, concerned about anybody that would be traveling along I-80 at this point as they're encountering these very strong thunderstorms. Still looks like that thunderstorm right around the Ames area, and they're starting to get these really strong wind gusts right now after they already experienced that large hail. The winds right along I-35 at this point moving off to the east, northeast. So I really think within the next hour along I-35 things will be calmer. We're going to continue to watch these thunderstorms unfortunately redevelop over some of these same areas east of I-35 as we go throughout the next hour, as well as the stage is still set for some strong to severe thunderstorms. That tornado watch remains in effect until 8 p.m. We have numerous severe thunderstorm warnings in effect as well. Let's start up to the north here because it looks like the one around Story City has been lifted. So that's great news for those folks. We still have a storm capable of producing some hail just south of the Williams area. Again, these are tracking east-northeast at a speed of around 60 miles per hour right now. So they're picking up intensity. This severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 3:45. Again, it's 3:37 right now for Hamilton as well as Hardin County. And then let's walk you through these thunderstorm warnings that are still in effect. We also have this one, severe thunderstorm warning, which includes communities around Pella, Grinnell, Montezuma. This is where we've been seeing all the reports of hail. Also, some signs of rotation on radar. Again, that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for Jasper, Mahaska, Marion, Poweshiek, and Tama County until 4 p.m. So about the next half hour, we'll continue to see large hail as the greatest concern for some of these communities. The rain really coming down as well as some hail right around Grinnell, and we're also seeing some in between Sully and the Montezuma area. This would be north of New Sharon at this point. And then let's end here with our strongest storm. And again, that's right around Ottumwa at this point. And you can see Highway 63 here, and also the hail returns showing up around Highway 63. That would be in the heart of Ottumwa at this point, the large hail returns. And that is where that tornado warning remains in effect. We also have a severe thunderstorm warning surrounding it. So that's Wapello County until 3:45. Looks like some hail returns coming in just south of Elbia, right around Moravia. And I believe that tornado warning just got extended as well. So let's clear this just a second so we can see that new tornado warning in effect.
Yep, it is extending out farther to the north and east. Here, the new warnings will be until 4:15 for Jefferson, Keokuk, and Washington counties as we slide out to the east and start to get out of our viewing area here just a bit. But we're keeping an eye, again, still strong rotation here on radar. exiting the east side of Ottumwa here at the moment. So there's a lot to look at here in terms of spin with this thunderstorm, and there's the latest scan coming in.
Wow, that looks strong.
Still moving northeast, so that's why that tornado warning has been extended.
And that would be just south of Hendrick. Can we go back to the Ottumwa cam and just check conditions there? Once again, it looks like some heavy rainfall based on this camera here, but I'm not seeing anything overly concerning at this point, but it does look concerning on radar. And these storms will continue to move off to the east northeast. And let's go back to the radar here. Centerville to Elbia, strong thunderstorms, severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for those communities until 3:45. That includes Appanoose, Davis, Monroe, Wapello, and Wayne County. Again, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts with hail in excess of 1.25 inches. We've been getting lots of reports of some very large hail and heavy rainfall as well. Let's go back out to the city of Des Moines, because now that it's 3:40, it's kids getting home from school, the strong winds, we do have a non-severe thunderstorm moving right through Des Moines and Ames at this point, and that is the wind shift occurring. And we're going to look live at Ames at this point to see what conditions look like there. Well, we can hear it. Here we go. This is near Jack Trice at this point. Heavy rainfall. This is where we were showing you earlier the reports of hail.
It almost looks like there's a tree that was snapped there in the brush, maybe blown over. It could be an older damage, but it did look like we had a tree that was tipped there in some of that brush as we head up here toward University Boulevard. And this is the corner kind of going right up to my buddy's street where we go. So I'll have to text him, see how he's doing up there in the storm in Ames. Again, we've had large hail already once through the Ames area, so certainly could be some damage already in place. Again, this line coming through the Ames and Des Moines area, that should be the end of it for these areas. Once that pushes through, like you're talking about with the dry line, we're in good shape there. Our severe thunderstorm warning in southeastern Iowa has been extended as well. In southern Iowa, going to add more areas basically of Wapello and especially Davis County now that will have that potential for golf ball size hail as this storm continues to move past Centerville and out to the east.
Let's go back to the satellite and radar across the upper Midwest just to make sure we're not seeing any redevelopment to the south, which can tend to happen in situations like this. So I do want to just double check Missouri and areas just to the south and west of the Des Moines metro area. We do have a thunderstorm with strong winds moving through the metro right now, getting closer to the east Mixmaster. That is a not warned storm, because the strongest storms at this point are east of I-35, advancing off to the east northeast into a fairly unsettled situation. So we still think these storms in eastern Iowa will be fairly strong. The strongest one in the areas that are capable of getting WHO 13, we're starting to move into a new viewing area as well. So it does look like those storms will continue to move off to the east northeast. We're watching this thunderstorm right around Grinnell, but I just wanted you to see the big picture that we do have a few more thunderstorms over the Missouri border, but the target right now is definitely Cedar Rapids, Davenport, the Burlington area, and we're most concerned about folks near Ottumwa.
Yeah,
we do actually have a new report, maybe you're Brett, you were getting to this, of a confirmed tornado near Hendrick. It is 8 miles northeast of Ottumwa, and that storm is moving northeast at 55 miles per hour, Jeriann. Yeah, and it looks like that maybe that lowering on camera there.
Yeah, that's what we're seeing here on our Shawl Skycam network, some lowering. And I don't have access to the radar right now, but this would be on the north side of Ottumwa, is that correct?
Just northeast out of Ottumwa. Just looking northeast here. We're northeast of Ottumwa, the northeastern part of Wapello County. Again, strong spin.
Let's let the National Weather Service know that we're seeing the tornado. Now, from this perspective, we can't tell if it's necessarily picking up some debris. We do have the capability of that on our radar picture to give us some idea.
Yeah. The spotters have confirmed that tornado and baseball-sized hail. We've got good rotation there. It does look like we have kind of one little, right there, you can see how we had kind of the orange to burgundy, And then this last one, there's a little
Yep.
square of green. That could be kind of the start of some of that debris getting kicked up into the air. Now, earlier we did have kind of a lot which was hail, and the way we can kind of tell the difference is that hail was there and it's a widespread area. If we see that little dot here that starts up and then that spreads out quite a bit as we go through time, once that stuff gets picked up into the tornado, whether it's dirt or tree branches, whatever it is, that's a way we can kind of track of what's going on.
Let's go back to the sky
confirmed.
cam if we can to just check the latest conditions here. And overall, we can see the cloud lowering there in the distance, but it's surrounded by heavy rainfall. So it's very hard to detect from necessarily this advantage point if it's picking up debris on the ground. But we want folks in Ottumwa, especially on the north side of Ottumwa, this would be near Hendrick, you said as well, to please be seeking shelter right now, as this looks like a very dangerous storm.
Yeah, we'll watch this tornado through 4 o'clock here in tornado warning through 4 o'clock for Wapello County. Again, as we look at one of our partner sky cams here from the Ottumwa area, watching that again, a little bit of a lowering again to the northeast. This would be northeast outside of Des Moines or outside of Ottumwa, about to work its way kind of right toward the county line there on the northeast side of Wapello County.
Okay, this community is in a tornado warning right now, and you can see right around Hendrick, just on the north side of Ottumwa is where this storm is located that we just showed you at this point. We are getting some radar returns that there is some rotation with it as well. It's moving off to the east, northeast rapidly, strong winds, heavy rainfall, and hail and damaging rotation. Now, whenever we have a strong storm like this, we always like to look what's happening just to the south as well, and we're continuing to see just to the south another thunderstorm develop, and that would be just south of Oskaloosa. These communities are all under a severe thunderstorm warning, Bloomfield, and that will remain in effect until 4:30. We also have communities right around Montezuma in a severe thunderstorm warning as well. This storm around Montezuma is still capable of some hail as well, and we're continuing to check on the Ottumwa situation just north of Ottumwa. Can we go back to that camera and see if anything's changed? It looks like they moved the camera there to zoom in closer on the clouds, probably to look for some rotation there. That doesn't quite look as ominous to me as it did earlier. But we are looking to see what appears to me to be a wall cloud there and some lowering in the distance. And this would be north of Ottumwa, on the north side of Ottumwa at this point. Let's go back to radar if we can, just to see the difference.
Here's a look at that tornado warning again as it works its way north of Ottumwa in toward the Hendrick area. Again, you need to be in your place of shelter. Confirmed tornado. That's what the kind of hot pink outline here is, that it has been spotted by our storm spotters and chasers in the area. So it's been confirmed with the National Weather Service. You will see our warnings kind of change to that pink outline to kind of help draw your attention there. I definitely want to make sure that folks seek shelter anywhere in these areas. As this begins to move out of Wapello County, I'll put the warning back up here for what we're talking about. Jefferson, Keokuk, Washington counties as we move on out to the east and northeast here, out of kind of our area, but baseball-sized hail possible there as well.
And you can see some more hail just south of Eddyville as well, right around Eddyville and the Blakesburg community. Definitely a strong thunderstorm still moving through those communities. Let's widen it out just a little bit more. It is now 3:48 in the afternoon. We still have a thunderstorm just to the south of Des Moines lining up right along I-35. And this is what we've been telling you about all afternoon, the dry line moving through, and that is going to continue to move to the east. Once that passes here, I would say within the next half hour, by 4:15, the weather will start to calm down around the city of Des Moines. Now, I say that loosely only because the winds will still be a factor and the winds will become more northerly. Can we go back to the wind graphic just to show folks where the winds are at this point? Again, this is where the strong to severe thunderstorm is located, but we have some winds here at the surface still gusting close to 40 miles per hour, and you can start to see that they are shifting as well, more northerly around Spencer. That's indicated by the temperatures as well. The temperature will continue to drop. If we can show that map from across the state, we were in the 80s earlier, but western Iowa is starting to cool down around Carroll and Atlantic. Still pretty warm and sticky around Grinnell, Pella, Sheraton, Marshalltown, Iowa City. These will all be areas of concern here within the next hour as the storm system moves off to the east. This now shows the severe thunderstorm warnings in effect and that watch that remains in effect until 8 p.m. The orange box indicating that severe thunderstorm warning, that's just north of Oskaloosa. The tornado warning now moving off to the east northeast and moving out of what we cover here for Channel 13. There are a ton of colors on this map that I need to walk you through.
I was going to say, how about this? Kossuth County, now severe thunderstorm warning and winter storm warning to the east of Algona. I just got a text from my brother who lives up here at Laverne that he's got some small hail. And so there's probably a little bit more just to the north of him because this is our newest severe thunderstorm warning. 2 to 4 inches of snow with blizzard conditions in a couple of hours in this same area. That's why there's a winter storm warning that'll be in place overnight tonight. But 1 inch hail possible. This is just to the south of Wesley, north of Laverne.
And it looks like near Highway 18 at this point, and also Highway 17 there. That hot pink, this purple color, whatever you want to call it, is hail at this point. And so these storms will continue to be capable of heavy rainfall and hail. Let's go back out and put this into motion here so you can see how these storms are tracking off to the east, northeast. We have a line of thunderstorms right around Ames. Thankfully, these are not severe, but producing some very strong winds. Things have calmed down around Carroll and Fort Dodge, but get ready for some cold air and a blast of snowfall as well. We still have very strong thunderstorms lined up near Oskaloosa, Waterloo, and this is about the time period we thought they would be moving off to the east. Again, we can't stress enough, it's almost 4 o'clock, but by 5 o'clock, these storms are moving so fast off to the east that things will start to calm down in terms of severe weather threat. But then the shift turns to strong winds, some snow, and some cold air. This is a very dynamic storm system we haven't seen move across the state in some time. All right, let's go to the pink there. That looks like a new type of warning.
Yeah, that's the confirmed tornado. Again, our tornado warnings are red when we get a confirmed tornado. Just to help kind of draw our eyes and yours to them, they go to hot pink. If they turn white, that's when we talk about a tornado emergency. That thankfully is not yet the case here. But as this kind of moves out of the Channel 13 viewing area, again, this will be picked up by the neighboring television stations, the folks in this area, most of the cable providers, satellite, all of that. They're going to get Cedar Rapids station. So we will kind of eventually here drop off of this one and slide a little bit back more to the west. But it is a confirmed tornado now moving out of Wapello County and into Jefferson, Keokuk, and Washington. Again, those are our neighboring media markets. So that's why you're not going to see that at the bottom of your screen at this point. But we will continue to watch these thunderstorms. And again, as that dry line fires up here in central Iowa, that's something we'll have to continue to watch for more hail as they work their way east of Interstate 35 into this kind of very spun up environment.
Yeah, I feel like these folks that are experiencing the thunderstorm right now will see things calm down here within the next half hour to hour and then fire back up, only because we do have another line that is sliding through. It's now on the east side of Des Moines at this point, the strongest thunderstorms. Anything capable of producing strong to severe thunderstorms is along and east of I-35. That said, we are seeing one thunderstorm warning along the Iowa-Minnesota border, and this is really out ahead of the snow and the blizzard conditions coming this way along Minnesota and parts of the Dakotas. This severe thunderstorm warning, this actually looks like this is strengthening, is in effect for Hancock, Kossuth, Winnebago County. Again, the strongest or the greatest threat here is hail, and that's right in between Wesley and the Corwith area near Highway 18, also near Highway 17. The pink is indicating the hail returns. The white means it's intensifying and the hail is getting larger by the minute, and that's actually near 240th Street and 190th Street, and this would be near Brett McIntyre's relatives, I believe. So I'm just curious if you know right where this
is.
is.
He's on 120th Street, so it's already gone through his area there. So we're watching this again as it works its way to the north. I've driven quite a few antique tractors in parades around here, Wesley and Corwith. So hello to our friends up there. Again, right now, again, not really a tornado threat up there, so that's good news. It's going to be some hail and something we're going to have to work through there as we get far away from the radar. We're going to start to get a little bit less returns here. But when we kind of look at the spin, again, this is a little bit farther away, something we'll keep a close eye on, but probably not a big tornado threat here. It'll just be that hail as we go through the next few hours, and then the blizzard conditions start up there.
We do have another thunderstorm warning just popping up here, and it looks like a stronger storm just north of Grinnell as well. Let's go into that one if we can. It may be moving out of our viewing area, but this looks like Toledo to right around Belle Plaine. Doesn't mean we don't care about you folks. It's just moving to another area that is covered by you, and that severe thunderstorm warning is in effect for areas outside of our viewing area at this point. But these storms are continuing to be strong in between Toledo and Belle Plaine. We also have a thunderstorm in between Grinnell and Brooklyn. But for the most part, I'm seeing our strongest storms now move into the eastern Iowa viewing area.
Yep, that's the tornado warning here for Tama County. Again, there may be some folks that can pick us up on antenna, but for the most part, they are covered by our stations to the east in Cedar Rapids and Waterloo, so we'll keep an eye on it. Still watching this storm here that's kind of come out of the Pella and Knoxville area. We've had a few where we've had some good hooks on the radar, and that looks like a pretty decent area of rotation. So I would say in Poweshiek County, between Montezuma and Brooklyn, this is a good time to be in your place of shelter, whether or not this is going to make it to the ground. A good hook here, strong rotation showing up. That's something I would take seriously. Some hail around the Malcolm area. This will be crossing I-80, and I just want to point this out again. I put it on social media earlier. This is exactly why the University of Iowa canceled the game watch at Carver Hawkeye tonight at 8 o'clock. And I'm sorry, I can't remember if it was baseball or softball. One of those got moved up to the noon hour because they did not want folks on the road right now trying to get to Iowa City to watch the game, celebrate a Final Four appearance. That you just would not want, a couple thousand people trying to get to Iowa City in the middle of this, trying to drive into this, or just have that many people stuck out away from home as these storms approach that area. So that's kudos to everyone involved in those decisions. I know it's tough, but that's a good job of collaborating with everyone.
Okay, we have Roger Riley near Malcolm. He's actually near Grinnell on I-80 at this point. We want him to stay put, but we are seeing a stronger storm in these communities here right now, right along I-80. And this is where the potential would exist for hail, and we're now seeing some rotation. So Poweshiek County in a tornado warning until 4:30, and you can start to see that the hook right here, just south of Brooklyn, north of Montezuma, but unfortunately this is right along I-80 at this point. Let's go in closer here. You can distinctly see the winds going in two different directions. So this would be radar indicated. I'm going to go check our latest communication here to see if anybody's getting reports of that. But if Roger Riley can hear me, I really want him to stay put right now as we are seeing some rotation near Grinnell along I-80.
Yeah, this is right on in Poweshiek County, Highway 63 here on the left side of your screen. 430, 440th Avenue, that is the area where we have that rotation right now. So we want you to be in shelter in Malcolm, probably some large hail. I would say the tornado passing just to your south. Brooklyn, your time is now. Get to the basement. This is just to your south and east. It's right near Malcolm as well. If you're in Malcolm, you want to be in your place of shelter, very, very close. But between Malcolm and Brooklyn, especially Brooklyn, get to your lowest level right now, because this is going to be bearing down here in the next couple of minutes. Take those precautions to get away from windows into the middle of your house as low as you can get.
I just saw a picture coming in from Seymour. I'm not able to share with you, but it looks like a bucket of golf balls, and unfortunately that was some golf ball size hail. But we really can't stress enough that this is a dangerous situation for folks, especially along I-80. Let's go back to radar if we can, just to show them where the strongest part of the storm is right now. just because it's usually a busy time, and we are seeing just south of Malcolm getting hit very hard with some hail. This would be south of Brooklyn, and right here is where we're seeing the potential rotation, and that's why this tornado warning is in effect. Now, the community around Montezuma appears to be in this tornado warning, as well as Victor, but this is where we're seeing the best potential for the rotation. Malcolm to right around the Brooklyn community, Highway 6 located here, I-80 right here. Right now, it looks like to me is just to the south of I-80, lifting off to the east, northeast. These storms have been moving at the speed of around 60 miles per hour, so at the speed of cars, which isn't helping the situation as well with this large hail continuing to come down. But right now, it looks like it's right along I-80, and that's the old Highway 6 right up here. So some of you may be familiar right about where this is located at this point.
Yep, 410th Avenue, 100th and 40th Street, 160th Street, crossing I-80 probably as we speak. I don't know if there are any, if we can get a look at any of those I-80 traffic cameras near the Brooklyn exit, if we have the ability to pull that up here. I know we're kind of doing it on the fly, but that's the area that we'd be talking about. Again, this is getting very close to Brooklyn. If we kind of slide along here with the latest scan, you can see where the city streets are. Again, this is just outside of Brooklyn, right on the southwest side, and should be moving near or over the town here shortly.
Yeah, I'm getting reports of the interstate seeing some rotation cross over I-80 right at 4 p.m. here. So our strongest part of the storm, hail returns coming in around Malcolm at this point, and we are seeing this storm capable of a tornado right along I-80, and that would be just south of Brooklyn right now.
Yep. We'll put this into motion here. I'll try and slow it down just a little bit so you can see over the last hour. Again, they're moving so fast, but they are going to be something I think that can, you know, if you haven't been paying attention, they're going to move quickly here toward you. So you want to make sure you act just in between radar scans here. In 2 or 3 minutes, that's 2 or 3 miles down the road, obviously at 60 miles per hour. So in terms of Brooklyn, from the latest scan, this is probably already 2. That area. So if you're in Brooklyn right now, you need to be in your place of shelter. Put a storm track on at Hartwick as we head to the northeast. Show you the towns that are going to be up next.
Yeah, let's track this here. Moving off to the east, northeast. Brooklyn at 4:02, Belle Plaine by 4:17. And you can see Blairstown right around 4:26. So again, these communities are all under a tornado warning. This would be east of Grinnell and continuing to move off to the east, northeast, meeting with some very unsettled air. Montezuma also in this severe thunderstorm warning. And again, you pointed out earlier that it's highlighted in pink because we're getting reports of this actual tornado.
Yep, that just came in now. 2 miles southwest of Malcolm. They reported, train spotter reported this on the ground, so it's now a confirmed tornado warning. It's past 4 o'clock now. You're watching WHO 13 in Des Moines, and confirmed tornado that should be essentially right near or over Brooklyn here at the moment. We had the tornado warning, or the tornado first spotted just to the southwest of Malcolm. We'll get zoomed in so you can see where that is. And that was about 5 minutes ago, 2 miles to the southwest of Malcolm, puts it over Brooklyn at the moment here, moving to the east and northeast. Does look like it's slowing down a little bit. The latest updates got this down to 40 miles per hour, but Brooklyn to Hartwick, these are the areas that you need to be taking action right now into that lowest level of your home.
Yeah, let's check out the shear here on this storm to just see if it's strengthening. Based on what I'm seeing on that latest scan there, it looks like it's still strong enough to support some rotation there in between Malcolm and Brooklyn, and that would be right near I-80 at this point. If you are hearing from some loved ones that are scared, just rest assured we want them to be safe. Just pull over and lay down flat in the ditch. That's the best thing you can do if you're caught in a car. You want to get as low to the ground as possible, and that would be the best thing to do in this situation.
Another storm report coming in that's a little bit delayed. This is from earlier in the day, Murray, Clark County. We've got some tree limbs broken and some shingles off, so a little bit of thunderstorm wind damage back in southwestern Iowa to this point. doesn't appear to be terribly significant, so hopefully we'll see that hold here, but continuing to kind of zoom in on this area of rotation. And maybe not quite as tight as what we'd expect with a tornado at the moment here, which maybe is a little bit of good news. Still definitely spinning, still definitely we've got that what's called the mesocyclone, the storm itself spinning, but right over Brooklyn here right now.
Yeah, and this would be east of the metro area, Poweshiek County. I'm going to go back here at 4:04 here and give you the picture of the storm system. That looks like that's strengthening right there, with definitely some hail returns getting larger and stronger. So we're on air right now because of this tornado warning in Poweshiek County. It is in effect for the next half hour up until 4:30, and it's right along I-80. We do have a line of thunderstorms that now have moved out of the Des Moines metro area as well as out of Ames. There's still a thunderstorm right around Mason City, but for the most part, the strongest storms are now east of I-35, advancing off to the east-northeast. So we're starting to see cold air and strong winds start to pick up in western Iowa. But if you're in the city of Des Moines, the threat for severe weather has dropped drastically, and I wouldn't be surprised if you're pushed out of that tornado watch here. But these communities remain under a tornado watch until 8 p.m. We have a second line of thunderstorms that has yet to move over a fairly unsettled area that could still produce some very strong storms. And already some heavy rain fell, and so we will see flooding as a concern as well. We have another tornado warning here to talk about.
Yeah, there's some tornado warnings that continue to pop up out to the east. Again, it's really just the extension here of that Poweshiek County into our neighboring counties as you head to the east there toward Williamsburg and in toward the southern part of Benton County. But Poweshiek County is where the main threat of this storm system is, just trying to give people a bit of advance warning here. It does look like this system kind of wrapping up a little bit, kind of pulls the tornado in toward the north. We'll see if it cycles a little bit and if we get a new development of rotation here, but crossing Highway 6 now. Near the Brooklyn area, Brooklyn just to the north, where we have the strongest spin showing up on our radar here at the moment.
Let's track this tornado warning. Gabe, do you have something new in?
Just really quick, Brett, if you take a look at the debris tracker on that, there is a slight drop. It's not over where the hail is. It's actually just east of it, kind of where that area of rotation is. It's maybe dropped down a little bit. There you go. If you back it up a couple scans. That may indicate a little bit of debris being lofted, and so that really just kind of matches up with these reports we're getting of a tornado that is confirmed with this cell.
Yeah, we had that first report that was just to the southwest of Malcolm. So when we put this on here, I kind of roll the radar back here, we can kind of see how that it goes. We get those lower colors, the yellow to the green that show up right there next to that Highway 63 sign, and then kind of slide to the east around Brooklyn, spread out a little bit, and then kind of go back. So maybe some good news there here in the last scan that we're not seeing as much getting kind of replaced there. But you're right, it definitely looks like we may have had something up in there.
I do want somebody to call Roger Riley and just check on him as well. He's located near the Grinnell area. The severe storm we're talking about is just east along I-80. Again, Malcolm, Brooklyn, these are the communities of concern right now. This is distinctly some hail returns coming in, but we want to track this tornado warning for you that's in effect here until 4:30. And again, it's for parts of eastern Iowa, but all this area kind of highlighted in a hot pink color is indicating that confirmed tornado warning. As we track our latest returns and the storm system moves off to the east northeast by 421 Belle Plaine, and you can see a few other communities that would be moving into eastern Iowa by 435, the Van Horn area as well. So these are communities we want you to be in your safe spot, which means in the basement. We want you to put as many walls between you and the outside as well, and just really take this serious right now, as we have been seeing this storm produce damage, unfortunately, and some large hail reports. This is continuing to be a very dangerous situation in eastern Iowa. So that tornado warning remains in effect for these communities up until 4:30. Are we seeing anything new here in the developments with the latest scans? To me, it looks like this thunderstorm complex that's now moved out of the Des Moines metro area right here. This is the one we were concerned about earlier, is starting to redevelop, but all these storms are below severe weather criteria. So what I'm hoping is that these storms kind of destabilize stuff enough that these won't intensify, but we'll be watching them closely as they continue to move off to the east-northeast.
Yep, we continue to get a few more reports here. Storm report in the last 5 minutes of quarter-size hail, 1 inch in Ottumwa. So as they get kind of their second wave of thunderstorms moving through, it has been kind of a long afternoon here in Central Iowa. Now that hook has kind of been pulled back up into this thunderstorm around Brooklyn. So any rotation that we would have left or possible tornado, again, there's still quite a bit of rotation there. It would certainly be rain wrapped at this point that we could not really be able to see it too well. Jeriann, I think we've got the I-80 traffic camera here near Malcolm around Brooklyn that we're going to take a look at here in just a second. But again, this area of rotation lifting across Highway 6 now. Yeah, some folks stopped underneath the overpasses again, which is not ideal. We don't want to back up traffic there on the interstate. And again, if you're in a tornado warning, that's the last place you want to be. I know there's some famous footage from Andover, Kansas in the middle, early 90s of folks running up there to hide. But when you think about your garden hose and you stick your thumb over the end to increase the pressure and the speed of the water, the same thing happens. If you have a thunderstorm or tornado and you're underneath there, it's going through a smaller area, that actually makes the winds worse.
I can see where it would be scary. I can see some of these cars starting to move now where that seems to make sense, especially if you're encountering some hail, you want to get under some sort of shelter. But as low to the ground as you can get would be the best answer. Pull over to a local gas station if you're in some bad weather as well. A rest area along the interstate would be a good way to stop some of those cars starting to move there under the overpass right now. But again, you're looking live at the interstate near Malcolm. Now the strongest part of the storm is just south of Brooklyn at this point near I-80, and it's tracking off to the east, northeast, Victor, Belle Plaine area. All will continue to see changing weather conditions within the next half hour as these storms advance rather rapidly off to the east, northeast. And these are still strong enough and capable of producing damage as well. So we're on air because of this tornado warning that remains in effect until 4:30, and that's in effect for Powesheik County. We're seeing some hail returns. Thankfully, that latest scan took this pink that had a lot of white in it, indicating some very large hail, and is bringing it down a notch. So we like to see it kind of weakening here a little bit. This is still a sure sign that we have some very strong winds that could be rotating around these communities. And again, we did get some reports of this being a confirmed tornado. Thankfully, no damage or injuries at this point, but that's right along I-80. And I believe we have Roger Riley in this area. Roger, what are you seeing now and where are you located?
I'm about a mile west of the Brooklyn exit, and I can see a kind of a bank of clouds and then a lot of rain off to the north and east. It's kind of light behind me, but I think everything with this storm is in front of me here, looking to the north and east. I have not seen any sign of a tornado. Lots of cars were, as you mentioned, pulling over along the interstate. I'm going to, I think, exit here and just stop and see what I can see of this storm before I go any further, unless you have any other ideas, Jeriann.
No, I would really like you to pull over at that rest stop. That would be just great. I'm not seeing anything concerning here, but of course on radar. So Roger right now is near Brooklyn and I-80 here. This is where Roger is located, which is in this tornado warning of the confirmed tornado warning. I do think the strongest part of the storm is north of Brooklyn at this point, and we're continuing to see some breaks just to the east of this, but it is starting to move into a new viewing area at this point.
Yep, in a few minutes here, the rotation is going to be out of Powesheik County, so we'd be looking north of Hartwick right now. We have seen some pictures on social media of this tornado when it was on the ground near Malcolm and I-80, but obviously now very well rain wrapped, so it's going to be tough to get too much in terms of further reports here, but they do have that warning extended as we get ready to hand that off to our partners out in eastern Iowa that will be taking over the rest of that. After that, once this warning is kind of out of central Iowa, the last couple areas that we're keeping an eye on, still to the north, moving out of Kossuth County now into Winnebago County. That severe thunderstorm warning is in place. Doesn't look as threatening as it did earlier. And then to the southeast, some heavy rain, and it does look like hopefully some weakening hail signatures there for Ottumwa and Bloomfield as well. So maybe getting back to a calmer state here. Jasper County, though, some heavy rain and maybe some developing hail possible north of Colfax on I-80, but to this point, no
Okay, we
warning.
do have a new tornado warning coming in, Brett, for Tama and Poweshiek County at this point, and that is at 4:13 p.m. This tornado, and it is 13 miles east of Toledo, moving northeast at a speed of around 30 miles per hour. We also have a confirmed tornado was located near Hartwick, and that's 11 miles west of Marengo, moving northeast at a speed of around 55 miles per hour. We had a delayed report, but Malcolm, about 3 miles east-southeast of Malcolm in Poweshiek County, that was around 4:05, that someone on the ground reported a tornado and debris along I-80 at mile marker 194. So again, this is a new tornado warning now in effect, and it will remain in effect, I believe, until 4:45.
I will say I like the signs I'm seeing on radar as far as we had that really clear-cut notch or hook with that storm earlier, whereas now it's almost becoming more of a line, and when we were looking at the velocity, that red color was almost overpowering the green. So that almost can happen when the storm kind of gusts out, and we'll get those straight line winds becoming more of an issue than the tornado. I was also looking at the debris tracker a little bit earlier. That also has kind of improved. So I'm seeing improving signs. The storm appears to be weakening as it exits Poweshiek County, but of course that tornado warning still continues.
All right, let's go back and show the satellite radar composite from across the state just so you can see everything going on here, because we still do have this line of thunderstorms, and I'm so thankful to see this is below severe weather criteria right now, because this was a big concern. But I really feel like at this point, maybe these storms have destabilized things enough that these will stay below severe weather criteria as they move off to the east, because many of these communities that are experiencing these really bad storms right now are in store for round 2 that's coming through. Again, everything is calmed down just to the west. It is now clear around Ames and Des Moines, just a cold air and strong winds continuing to filter in, but the greatest risk for more strong to severe thunderstorms is moving off to the east northeast. We have a ton of colors on this map, and that's because, if you haven't heard yet, we have winter storm warnings in effect along the northern border of the state. These are all blizzard warnings around Mankato. Winter weather advisories for northwest Iowa. This is a tornado watch. Thank you, Brett, for keeping up here. A tornado watch for eastern Iowa. These are all the tornado warnings that are getting closer to Cedar Rapids, Waterloo, Iowa City, and unfortunately Davenport as those continue to move off to the east. But what we're seeing to the west right now is more winter weather starting to move in. These wind advisories remain in effect until Saturday morning at 7 a.m. as we'll continue to experience wind gusts out of the northwest at a speed of around 50 miles per hour. Okay, it looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning in. Let's get to that right now.
Yep, we'll get the radar pulled back up here and we'll zoom back in here. It does look like our newest severe thunderstorm warning is going to be in place up here into northern Iowa. It is, for the most part, out of the viewing area. We do have a sliver here of Hancock County that's included, so Sheffield to the north of Hampton for quarter-size hail. It's going to be the main threat, but it does look like that's more of an issue as you get north of Clemmy up toward Garner. But it does include a little piece here of northwestern Hancock County. It looks like the worst of it, though, is really a little bit farther to the north outside of that area.
And the risk here with these thunderstorms will continue to be primarily hail, heavy rainfall, thunder, and lightning. We're continuing to be concerned about the storm right now that's along I-80. That's still in a tornado warning for Poweshiek County, and that does remain in effect for about the next 10 minutes. So these are the communities that purple. I know there's so many lines on this map right now because there's a lot going on, but we want your attention to go right here, right around Belle Plaine, Victor. This is a severe thunderstorm and the tornado warning in effect. And to me, overall, that looks like that's weakening, and that would be in effect here until 4:30.
Yeah, it's gotten a lot messier now as it works toward Belle Plaine. At this point, essentially, it has moved out of Poweshiek County for all intents and purposes. So we're talking about right on, basically straddling the line between Tama and Benton counties here at the moment.
Okay, I would say we are going to make the call here to, well, let's go back through these storms because unfortunately my attention did just go right here where we're continuing to see a new severe thunderstorm warning. That would be south of Knoxville. And this severe thunderstorm warning includes Mahaska, Marion, Monroe, Poweshiek County, and that is in effect until 5:15. Again, these returns are indicating some hail potential once again as they move off to the east-northeast rather rapidly.
Yep, that is kind of the newest. Again, we've been watching that dry line kind of pushing on through. I'll check the winds here real quick and see where we're at for wind speeds. They are kind of straight out of the west here. You can see where things start to change. So that is good news in terms of tornadic threat here on that last wave coming through. I think those are going to be more hailers than anything else. So it's still something we're going to have to keep an eye on. If it can catch up to where those winds turn more to the southeast, then certainly that changes things. But it's much more likely, I think, that we're going to have the tornadoes on that leading line moving into eastern Iowa, and the second line is still the potential here with the way those winds are screaming that we could get that severe weather set up for hail and maybe some more damaging winds, because now our wind gusts even behind the storms are gusting to 40 or 50 miles per hour, so even just a little bit of a push from the storm could push that up and over the severe limit.
Let's track this one severe thunderstorm warning here. We have Gabe Prough here as well, and he's getting busy, ready to tell you all about the weather forecast as well as our news team to update you on the latest news as well. But first, we want to run through this severe thunderstorm warning that's still in effect. And you can see here as that moves off to the east, northeast, few communities in the line of more hail, more heavy rainfall, some very strong winds. That would be Elbia and Oskaloosa. Elbia around 425. Again, it's 421 right now. These are moving that fast. Oskaloosa around 442, the Fremont area by 449, and eventually North English there by 518. But I'm with Brett. I think the strongest storms at this point are in between Waterloo, Ottumwa, getting closer to Iowa City. They are now moving into eastern Iowa. Now that one storm just south of Knoxville headed right for Oskaloosa. Oskaloosa already experienced a thunderstorm. You've got another thunderstorm on the way.
Jared, I'm gonna jump in here. Again, this is out of our viewing area, but for folks that have friends in this area, a confirmed large and extremely dangerous tornado located over Kinross, about 14 miles northeast of Sigourney, moving to the northeast at 65 miles per hour. There have been reports of 2 tornadoes on the ground. A particularly dangerous situation. Please take cover now. So these are going to be areas Wellman, Kelowna, Hallbrook here in the next, really right now, between now and 4:25, Windham, Frytown, Sharon Center around 4:30. But I'm seeing some of the video on Twitter right now. Large and extremely dangerous tornado here out again on the leading edge of this. It's outside of our viewing area, but this is something that would be kind of right on track for Iowa City, Kelowna. Again, as we stress how they abandoned plans there for this evening, this is why that particularly dangerous situation, tornado warning in place, Keota to Kelowna.
Okay, we are going to take you to a commercial break here, gather some new information, come back with some news and an updated weather report. Keep it right here to WHO 13. We're so glad you stayed with us throughout the afternoon, but we've got more weather to tell you about, and we've got some more local news as well. So please stay here. We'll be right back.